map here. And that is also no surprise. Cafe, well, Maya is especially strong with those magnets in hand and with that utility game that we love to see teams playing, especially when you get to that top floor. That pixel position really comes to mind. Attacking teams won't have to fret too much about the presence of that Wamai. Obviously, you have the Aruni to deal with. You've got the Jaeger to deal with. Both of those dabble in projectile denial, and Mikey and Whitlock will be bringing out both of those operators here in round one.
Interesting, Zeno bringing the Warden into play. It's not one you often see. I mean, they do have the smoke. I suppose with the MI ban, that pixel position isn't quite as strong as it could have been. But look, they're testing the waters right now. Karn and Co want to gauge what level that Okami are going to be trying to contest them with right now. But you look at everything that's being set up, heavily invested on the defensive utility. They want to burn what Okami are bringing to the table. And that could slow down the push enough that Karn can play the clock.
Well, that's the beauty of these castle barricades. They waste so much time and, again, so much of that utility. And we've seen a lot of defensive teams really go for pretty heavy castle setups, especially in this piano and cigar shop area. You can really delay that onslaught of attacking pressure from this west side, especially if you want to hold down in cigar itself. And it looks like Zeno may be looking to do that, especially looking to get early on these engagements, just holding this angle, waiting for somebody to place down that breaching charge or open it with a sledgehammer. Here he comes, but the shotgun will not quite connect. So a good effort there from Zeno, but that's not his main focus. Instead, he's likely going to camp out here in cigar. He's got that shotgun in hand. He's got this humidor, this cigar box to sit inside of, and he's going to sit here denying that drop from the red stairs as long as he can.
They also has that castle barricade at his back and the piano door. I mean, it's going to make it so hard to try and flush out the position. Breaching charge is going off, opening some of those long angles, but Zeno with the shotgun in a tight angle, even if they do drop that utility down, they've got the two stuns in the hands of Zeno, one now left, and with that all being cleared out, yeah, Zeno relocates, doesn't want to have to hang around too long because he knows this position is being flushed out.
Now, we saw that Zofia impact getting, I believe, nullified there by the Aruni gate, so that's going to hinder the progress of Okami just a bit longer. But Zeno, he knows his position has been sussed out, so he is going to be very careful about what he does next. We can also see a couple of Z-pings there. So Okami, they know what they're dealing with. It just comes to actually executing that plan. We see a couple of nades coming in, but that's going to come up with nothing. Everyone on Karn and Co. still full HP, still very prepared for whatever Okami throw their way. Matt Bonger, he's tempting a little bit of a rotation. He'll go over towards that heaven window and try to pressure from this backside. Maybe catch Karn off guard if possible. But right now it's a waiting game. Under 60 seconds to go and no first move has been made by either team.
Karn and Co playing this incredibly reserved, no real aggression being shown from them. The shotgun deals with yet another Gemini replicator, and with Zeno pushing into the cigar shop itself, he wants to deny the push down that red hatch. There's a lot of utility coming, players already into that new belt position. They don't quite know Zeno's here, so this could be a heavy upset. Sees the pixel of the head. This could be dangerous for J Slime. He's getting shot at. It was a bit of a whiff, but Zeno confirms it in the end before he's traded out by Rice. 4 versus 4 is a 4 versus 3, and it's all coming apart here. Okami being whittled away. Bry for one onto Whitlock, the trade, avenging his former teammate. But now with 20 seconds remaining, they've got to force Mikey covering that cross into the side. Mikey shuts it down. Karn and Co, they stick to their guns, they play their objectives, and they win the round handily.
Oh, well, it all started with Zeno making an aggressive play, but it paid off, right? We saw him make the bold decision to retake into Cigar Box, to go for that aggressive maneuver, and while a couple of shots did miss towards J Slime, eventually he was able to find that kill, or in this case onto J Slimy Kitty, or whatever he prefers to go by this time, then turning around and taking the gunfight with Rice. And even though Zeno wasn't able to get that kill, first of all, that fight onto J Slime and removing the entry, that did a ton of damage to that Okami attack. Plus, he did about 95 damage to Rice himself. At that point, putting Okami into a really tough spot. When we saw those last two players standings, it was Bry and Exo. Sure, two very strong players, but they were isolated from one another. You saw it was Exo in the middle of Long Bar, pushing into a crossfire all by himself, while Bry was over by Planks in the White Hall, trying to pressure on that cocktail double door, just trying to get something going. And of course, without a teammate behind, even though Bry was able to get that one kill, you can see it on the right side of your screen there, he wasn't able to do much more. So a great way to start things off, especially on that top floor bomb site. Bar and Cocktail locked down for Karn and Co. Will now move down one flight to Reading and Fireplace here as their next defense.
Honestly, the most impressive thing about that last round is the trigger discipline by Zeno. He saw at the top of J-Slime's head, could have gone for the shot, but it ultimately would have cost him his life. He waited for J-Slime to push up, isolated the fight. He could have won both of them there if he'd been a little bit quicker on the trigger. But it just shows that high level of experience Karn and Co are bringing to the table. Because I know a lot of tier 3 players would have gone straight for that shot, missed, and been swung on and killed.
Yeah, risky, especially with such a long angle fight with that shotgun. A lot of times we just kind of say in the community that you got to believe in the shotgun. That's the only way to get to work. Sometimes it'll go to one shot from that range. Other times it will not. And it's just about how much you believe in the damn thing. That's where the frags are going to come from. But again, first round, Karn and Co. Now they'll be looking to continue that success with what appears to be a little bit of this top floor extension. Nothing unusual here, but what could be unusual is if Whitlock is actually able to get a kill or two on this entry. He'll have to be droned out first. Okami will do that, and Whitlock will play a little bit more passively, backing off just a room or two into bathroom, into freezer, waiting for Okami to make the first move. But, you know, with 60 seconds gone, this is already good progress for Whitlock. He's wasting time. He's taking care of some drones. At least he's taking care of 2 drones so far. And he's slowing down the pressure of Bry as much as he can. He knows Okami and their #1 mission will be to clear out this vertical extension. And so far, Okami are, well, not frozen in place, but they haven't gotten much done.
This is interesting. You know, the setup of X, I guess that's something we see in ANZ. Usually you reinforce it out, create a bit of a bunker up on the 3rd floor. But Karn and Co, they've opted to open that angle up all the way into Piano, play the extension, play the aggressive defense, and contest those long angles. Obviously, it shows they have a lot of faith in their own mechanical abilities.
Well, Whitlock here trying to flex those very mechanical abilities and trying to get aggressive, as is Bry. That's not the gunfight that starts things off, though. Actually, it's Exo to get the opener, but Mikey quickly responds with a kill onto Rice. Karn from below is also trying to assist these last few players on the top floor. It's actually going to be nobody anymore, as they've backed off to play a little bit more passively, but actually that's going to result in Karn hitting the floor here. J-Slime from up above will use the vertical to his advantage and get that drop onto Karn. He should be revived here, but now things get messy because here comes Bry and Mikey's gone.
I mean, it was a very impressive angle that J-Slime was able to find onto Karn in the site itself, and that means, you know, they do get him up in the end, but Bry just punching on through, takes down Sonar as well. And the 2 versus 4 defense. Zeno looking to get a bit aggressive. This is with 2 of his teammates have fallen already. Here's the audio cue. Bry swings out. Zeno backs off for the moment down into laundry, and it is going to be very chaotic in the execute. Matt Bonga on the plant in the default position, but he's been shut down. Long range spray from Exo shuts down Carnage. It's on Zeno, the drop from the hatch, the 2 kills in fact, and it's all come apart for Okami. Exo has to try and get in and contest the gunfight, but Zeno, no! Exo's done it!
Okay, Exo. Clutching it up in those final few moments when it looked like Zeno had all but secured it. Good lord. Round number 2, out of control here. Both of these teams, it was Karn and Co who struggled, who could not get anything going, but then they bring it back. It was once again the man of the hour. It was Zeno to just pop off, and what looked like would have won the round for Karn and Co had Exo not made the bold and calculated maneuver to push all the way up and take him out. That was well played, and it will keep Okami alive. Obviously, we got a little bit of a timeout here as it appears we had a brief disconnect from the lobby, but that has been quickly alleviated, and we should be ready to head back into it in no time. But both teams probably reeling after that round. I would say Okami are feeling themselves after a confident round win, but it was anything but. They had the advantage and they threw it away, relying on one player to prove clutch in that 1v1.
But, I mean, the wild thing is Zeno was sitting in the middle of reading. So it wasn't like he was playing some off angle or some cheeky vert position. No, he was just tucked in behind the bookshelf, denies the plant, gets dropped on by Bryce, swings the hatch, gets the kill, follows it up with the player who was meant to be watching the plant and keeping that cover. And I mean, honestly, you just got to feel heartbreak for Karn and Co. because the effort that Zeno put into that round, the depth as to which he was to bring it back was so significant for EXO to take it away. That's going to be crippling to the mental.
Well, Karn will be looking to maybe bolster that mental a little bit by heading downstairs here to kitchen. They're going to continue to switch sites, even if reading room and fireplace or reading room and dining didn't go their way. So they'll be here on this first floor, and it appears they will be employing a similar strategy to what we've seen from them in the past few rounds. They do not want to allow Okami to get in this building for free. They proved that in round number 1 with Zeno playing close on that red stairs drop. And again, we saw it in round 2 with that top floor extension, and here we are in round 3 seeing a bit of a roam. Not only do we have the Mozzie from Zeno this time around, we've got Whitlock switching over to the Vigil, assisted in part by those mute jammers from Sonar, and you've got this, what I like to call this information denial wombo combo, a ton of energy going into denying Okami's ability to work that top-down clear. But here comes a perfect counter, Blue. We may not even be seeing that top-down clear from Okami as they are currently positioning for a bakery direct approach.
Yeah, I mean, it plays out very similarly to Reading Room and Fireplace. You want to be playing that vert, you want to get up into train and hold the vert through service. So if Karn and Co are doing that, it could make this push very hard, and it did look like there was a player. But this Mavericking already going on. J Slime with a big damage onto Carnage. That's rough with no Thunderbird, no Dock in play. He's going to have to play his position perfectly, lest he risk being unable to deny any sort of push to the toxic canisters.
Well, we can see Okami now committing to this push, but the one risk that now they run is, well, the vertical play being employed here by the defense of Karn and Co. That could prove critical for Okami if they're not careful. Of course, they're going to know where to look. They've done this a million times, but it is very hard to take these fights or try to entry into the bomb site when you have to look straight up at the ceiling. Now, Okami don't want to learn that one the hard way, so they may be devoting a little bit of offensive pressure to clearing that top floor. At least for now, we can see Matt Bonger doing his thing. He'll rotate above in an effort to clear out some players, or at the very least, apply just enough pressure to Mikey and to Whitlock to force them out. Rice is also going to be doing this, already pushed up into this red hall and is looking to get some fights going. He'll take one, but lose it to Mikey, and the Okami's problems just got worse.
They do find Carnage, though. Smoke off the board. Bryford 2 before he goes down to Whitlock on the Vigil. They've lost the mute. They've lost the smoke. That's a huge amount of their plant denial. So should Okami get into the site, they could find themselves getting that diffuser down reasonably free. And with Zeno playing over code check, J Slime not checking his corners or his angles, gets shut down. And all of a sudden it's coming apart once again for Okami. Whitlock still playing that vert. Matt Bonger left to try and contest him with the diffuser out of hand. He's going to have to hit some insane shots pushing through. Whitlock repositions at the worst possible time, so Bonga will get in. Can he do it? No. Mikey there as well, having gotten himself down into the site, playing the chassis. And Karn and Co. double up with a second round.
Yeah, successful kitchen defense there. More than that, a pretty dominant round as well. It always troubles me when we see attacking teams go for a direct approach on that kitchen site and still die to the vertical pressure from the defense above. They've done it a million times. These attacking teams are quite familiar with the importance of the vertical play. I mean, in a few rounds, we'll see them switch on to defense and likely employ the very same strategy. But yet, they choose to ignore it, or at least after trying to deal with it and quickly failing, they just give up and push on into the site. That's not a solution that is going to get you rounds almost any time, unless those players somehow miss the shots. And we are at a level right now where those players, Whitlock and Mikey above, they are not simply going to whiff shots through the floor when they have an easy gunfight with the top of your skull. I was saying Okami wasn't going to learn that one the hard way this round. Maybe they were going to clear out the pressure. No, they didn't do that. They just committed Rice, who was all alone, to that position. I don't know, assuming that Karn and Co. wouldn't be ready for that to be cleared out when clearly Mikey was prepared. Yeah, he was prone in a corner, but he won the gunfight anyway. So messy there for Okami, no question about it. They'll have to do some recovery of their own now that we head into round number 4 and back to a site where they were unable to attack just a couple rounds ago.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I think I understand what Okami were trying to do, but if you're going to go for that approach, it needs to be smash and grab. You can't mess around mavericking open walls. It's blow open service, get in there as quickly as hell, deal with the players on site and get the defuse down so that, you know, the defenders can't play off of those vert angles. But they took so long messing around in cafe, mavericking open the wall, trying to contest the players on site. No, you need to be in, you need to be going fast, and you need to be hitting those shots.
We'll see how Okami want to speed things up, if they want to speed things up in this round. We noted how the timing was a little bit of an issue for them the last time they attacked Bar and Cocktail in round number 1. We saw how powerful Xeno was able to be, almost single-handedly dismantling that early entry, and we're seeing him contest this position once again. Okami have to figure out a way to deal with this, and one big component of that would be getting that castle barricade open towards Piano. There's a window that looks right into Cigar. You've just got to take the time to clear out all this utility, and it looks like this time they are making that adjustment. Rice will use those flash grenades to burn it through. Now Bry will come in with the concussions, and now the impacts should hopefully follow, but we're still seeing that castle barricade in place. And that has to change. Matt Bonger has a nade. J Slime has 2 as well. Obviously, they want to save those for later, but if they want to just get into the building, they've got to deal with that position from Xeno. Looks like they finally will do that. You heard the nade go off. That's going to be Matt Bonger's. It deals with the castle barricade, and he himself will finish off the player in Cigar and J Slime. He will be traded out, however, but Okami are already starting this one off a little bit better than last time.
Reset of the Saria gate there could prove detrimental now that they are slowly starting to get themselves into the building, getting close to that final minute. Whitlock and Sonus' possession could well and truly deny any sort of significant push. So Okami, again, I think they need to find a different angle, whether that's the cocktail balcony, even hitting cocktail itself. Send someone over there, if not to go in, but to at least distract, could enable the main body of their push.
Well, that push fully coming from this Cigar side. It's clear at this point. We're not seeing any sort of cocktail rotation, no pressure applied to the east side at all, and that gives Karn and Co. maybe too much freedom to move around this site. With that freedom, Karn will swing out UMP in hand and deal with Matt Bonger, Whitlock, and Mikey chain 2 together and quickly deal with Okami as they just try to flash their way into the building. And this time it fails. Okami, despite the early start, a rocky mid-round, a tough transition to that execute, and Karn & Co. had no problem dismantling it.
I mean, you know, the age-old, the deadliest enemy is the one that you can't see. It comes into play there. If you know every single member of the enemy team is pushing for one position, what do? You train all guns on that position and murk them as they walk through the door. If they'd sent Matt Bonger over towards that cocktail bank, popped a couple of windows, he doesn't even have to go in. He just has to draw attention so that those defenders are looking elsewhere so his teammates could win the fight. Everything right now Okami are doing is incredibly one-dimensional, and a team like Karn & Co. with CL experience is not going to fall for it.
I mean, we highlighted how Okami is that roster made up of 1/5 CL experience, but Lava, the only player with that experience on the former Okami roster, is not even here. I received word that he's actually hanging out with Crow right now in Toronto, and so that's why Matt Bonger is stepping in as the sub. Nothing more complicated than simply Lava is busy doing other things and hanging out with people in real life. How dare he, right? Siege over everything else. No, but in all seriousness, Okami need to find a way to channel that experience as much as they can, because they are going up against a very experienced team, as you highlighted, Blue, and they need to find a way to counter just simple smarts that Karn & Co. are employing right now. We're not seeing any crazy strategies that are breaking Siege as we know it and defying the meta. We're just seeing Karn & Co. calmly set up this site, doing their thing, and Okami are, well, they're also doing their thing, but it's just not living up to the standard that Karn & Co. are setting for them right now.
Yeah, like I said, one-dimensional. They're all pushing from the same direction. I mean, you take Clubhouse map, for instance. If you're going to attack CCTV, you need to be coming from multiple different angles. You send a couple of players through rafters and then through the main breach on CCTV. You don't all just push through the main CCTV breach. So if Okami, they need to slow things down and say, hey, look, they know where we're coming from for the majority of this approach. If we send someone over here, play the misinformation game, throw a couple of nades, make some noise, distract them, that's going to give them the best shot to win some of these key gunfights. Because right now, honestly, they've got the strat book open and they're showing it to Karn & Co.
J-Slime appears that he wants to change the rhythm of this series. He wants to get aggressive, and right now, all alone here in mining is dangerous, but it certainly would be that surprise that Okami needs. It appears that Okami may be gearing up towards, a backsided take, a little bit of a fireplace hall push right now, and Karn and Co, with the lack of pressure above, they're going to be realizing this one pretty quickly. They see the drones coming down the red hall. They'll soon see J-Slime on that wide swing. Bry is pretty close behind to support that, and Exo will be doing his best to get these X-Kairos pellets down on the wall, but so far those are going to be muted, so he's going to have to take a little bit longer to actually get that done. Rice still up above, trying to provide that flank watch, and while he will spot out one, can't quite finish the kill, he'll fall to Whitlock, but not before Bry was able to get a kill in response. Now cut down to 1 HP, the pressure from above proving too much for Bry to handle, but Matt Bonger is there. A double kill for Whitlock will eventually be silenced in even 3v3.
Once again, they're just giving Karn and Co too much time to react in these situations. They set themselves up. Honestly, as soon as these X-Kairos hit the fireplace wall, it should have been a punch straight into reading, get into the site, take control of it, look to get the plant down. They've given Karn and Co far too much time to react. And now as we head into the final 40, you look at it, Karn and Co know where Okami are going to be coming from. All three players on the same side of the map. X-Kairos out, aren't going to achieve much, and look at the angles that are being covered. Karn and Co know what to do. Toxic Cannons just to slow down, funnel them all through in that same direction. Player tucked in on the corner, so even if they do go through the breach, it's Sonar with a hell of a headshot. Carnage finds one of his own with the SMG-11. J-Slime answers back, but what can you do in this situation? You've got limited info, limited time. The pre-fire, it's not good enough. Karn and Co are the ones in charge right now.
Well, normally, I'm casting with Crow, and Harrison always has a big old roast for a team. He's going to just start yelling at someone for being bad, and I'm not going to do that, but I've got to channel some of that energy because he's not here today. Okami, I have no idea what that attack was. Frankly, that was a disaster, and they need to go back to the drawing board on that one because they started with one thing, they pivoted to something else, and they just gave up on all of their approaches and just tried to take gunfights to win the round. That started out with a fireplace dining attempt. We saw a bunch of players gear up towards mining and train. We saw those X-Kairos pellets, go down on that fireplace wall. That really never came to fruition. Okay, step one failed. They didn't make the decision to clear upstairs. They didn't have the time, and they knew that. That's the one smart decision they did make. But going for that fireplace take and giving up on it, it puts you in a very tough spot. And what did we see them do? They just tried to brute force their way into reading, a couple of wide swings in the red hall, opening the reading main wall, and just try to find some angle to catch out somebody on Karn and Co who wasn't paying attention. That kind of cross your fingers and hope strategy isn't going to get you very far at this level. And Karn and Co, I think they're proving that here. A 4-1 lead right now on Cafe defense. Sure, this map does often, not always, go defensive-sided, but Okami, they've only found one round so far. And they're now headed to a site that they were unable to attack successfully last time. I don't know exactly what their problem is right now, but I can tell you that it looks messy right now, Blue.
Look, I'll be honest, I think I understand why Matt Bonger is playing today. The name is that because Okami are playing like they're high. They get they get the first step done. They get in, they get the positioning, and then it's like, what was the game plan? They go back, check the strat book, middle of the round, and by that stage, Karn and Co have said, hey, look, everyone's over here. Let's get into this position. They can't win it. Because, I mean, they set themselves up like they are just going to punch through onto the site, take control of it, and then they don't. It's just, it blows my mind.
Well, clearly some things to work on. I think we can both agree on that one, Blue, and I'm already not loving this one because we're seeing the same attack that they failed on just
Okami
a couple
setting
rounds
up
ago.
for the execute. Karn and Co are still setting up the defense in the first minute of the round.
Yeah, like either you got to get aggressive or like go early, try to just bully your way in, or do it right. And right now we're seeing neither, right? Okami, they're making the opening steps and they're getting that wall open, but they are not clearing out upstairs. And I don't know what they expect to happen if they're not going to deal with Whitlock above. Mikey probably lurking around too. If you're not going to take care of those players, What do you think this attack is going to happen? I mean, maybe they're just going to hope to bully their way in on this site and get a kill against Karn, who clearly is going to fry them first. We've seen that, and we see Zeno here in position. But because we've got 2 players above, this could change things up very quickly. Now, thankfully, Matt Bonger will make me change my mind a little bit. He'll make me eat my words, and he'll take care of Whitlock with a perfectly placed nade. Now, Bry will second that, swinging in and dealing with the player on the red stairs, Zeno, who just did not get a single shot, landing the right place. So now it's a 5v3, and Okami, as much crap as we've just given them, they are now in a pretty strong spot.
I'm sorry, there's no way. There is no reality where Okami should be the ones winning this round. They've literally, like, it slammed their head into the wall, brute forced their way onto the site, and found 2 kills. The swing in aggressively, EXO looking for the toxic is just there, bro! What are you trying to do, EXO? That's defusal well and truly out of hand. They might just win it off the frags alone, but another kill goes the way of Karn before he's shut down. It's left to Mikey upstairs. He drops the hatch into freezer. Okami should not be getting away with any of this, and Mikey finds 1 before he goes down. Okami did not deserve that round.
Yeah, that was a mess. Frankly, from both teams, I guess the nades just weren't expected by Karn and Co. And so when those came in to deal with the pressure above, it just, well, it took their defense and it tore it apart. They kind of got a little bit flustered. We saw Zeno over on the red stairs, not able to connect a single shot onto Bry, who went for a bit of a premature wide swing from that small bakery door. But he was able to win the fight, Bry was, and the rest of Okami was able to push in with confidence. It wasn't necessarily smart. You highlighted Exo, it was Exo, who ran into really deep into the site and then got immediately attacked by several toxic smokes and then had to fall back and then eventually died because of it. Messy to execute in shambles, but because they got those 2 opening picks and they were able to roughly play the trade game in those closing moments, it's an advantage that is very hard to work your way back from if you're that Karn & Co defense. So at the end of the day, Okami takes the round, so we can't be too mad about that, and it is a pretty standard half. Karn & Co securing the 4 rounds on defense, Okami 2 on attack, as we switch sides and look to see how Karn & Co can attack this map, because the way Okami did that one didn't really impress us that much.
Look, I'm interested to see where Okami's defense transitions to, because if they're bringing that same level of, just straight from the mold setup, it should be ran into and cleared out quite easily. But with the mirror in play, they do have the tools to make this a very, very hard push for Karn & Co. Whether it's as one-dimensional as their attack, we've yet to find out. But I mean, yeah, look, Karn & Co, as much as they threw the round, neither team really deserved it, because it was a very messy round on the whole.
Well, I suppose we can take the lessons, learned from that first half. Not throw them out completely, but, forget those in favor of what we're about to see in round 7. After all, it's Okami's turn to shift things up on the defense, and we can no longer criticize their ability to push their way into the building, because all they've got to do is sit back and wait. That's going to be made even easier, because as something we've already talked about, the Mira not being banned is going to prove huge for Matt Bonger especially, as he just wants to sit back and use those black mirrors to the best of his ability. And that is another element that is going to hinder this Karn & Co attack, especially as we get to the late round. And if they don't deal with that, they are going to be in a bit of trouble. Now, Bry is playing this aggressive position that we saw from Exo earlier, but rather than contesting it any further, he will drop downstairs, and this will allow Karn & Co to push into this building for the first time.
I mean, again, my mistake there, Karn & Co letting Bry get out of that position. They had the players there that they could have covered the door and stopped them from getting down the balcony. Right, it is what it is. 5 players still alive for both teams. A minute and a half, the mirror window shot out by Whitlock. A cheeky little angle there for him, and Matt Bonger will be flushed out of his position in the washroom. Again, it's not the cleanest, but it is the steps that Karn & Co need to be taking to enable that execute.
They'll spot out the player behind the mirror window in Cocktail. They know they have these mirrors to take care of. It's something they've seen a lot. So we know they know how to do it, but can they do it with the time they have left, especially if Exo is taking these aggressive gunfights? SMG-11 will get Exo that first kill, and on to Whitlock, especially the sledge gone so early in this round, so early in this execute, rather. That's pivotal and something that they did not want to lose. A C4, however, will come up with nothing from the side of Okami, so that is a wasted piece of utility on the defensive side. And with 45 seconds, Karn and Co., they are looking to make the first move. Now, Karn, he'll be looking to get this plant down, but he's going to be hindered by Bry, who's just taking a couple shots his way. Bry actually ends up finishing off that kill, but Xeno, on a sneaky play through heaven, hopes to change things up. Mikey gets one, now looks for two. Great kill there, but Rice trades it back. It's all up to Xeno, now in a 1v2. 25 seconds left and has to figure out where these defenders are located. Suspects there's one on the white stairs, but this is a deadly crossfire he does not want to walk into. He gets one, the rotate around, and the flick will come up with nothing, however, as J-Slime will win out that engagement, and Okami will sneak out the round and take their first defense.
I mean, Okami, they played the situation that's much better on the defense than they were on the attack, but in saying that, Karn code, that is what Okami should have been doing. Send someone in that cocktail balcony. The damage was massive. Mikey just walks his way out of the site. So they did make the most of these minor errors that Okami were making the defense. Unfortunately, when it came down to the gunplay, Karn and Co. couldn't quite keep it together and win it out. So, I mean, back within one, Okami looking a little bit more comfortable on the defense. Hopefully it stays that way.
Well, starting things off successfully is good for Okami. They wanted to alleviate the deficit they find themselves in as soon as possible. And they're one round. You know what? They're halfway there. Only one more round to go before we are theoretically all tied up. And much like Karn and Co. on their defense, it looks like Reading Room and Dining is going to be that second preferred site rather than Kitchen. Saving that one for last, potentially, is a bit unusual. But it is what Karn and Co. did, and it is what Okami will do as well. Now, the presence of the mirror window here is something that I know we've talked a little bit about already, Blue, but I think something that needs to be emphasized again, because the mirror, having a mirror up on any map, but especially Cafe, is really dangerous for the attacking side. And it's probably why we're seeing this one go a little bit more defensive-sided rather than that 3-to-3 split that we've also grown quite accustomed to seeing as well. And because those black mirrors are in play, that means that as an attacking team, you've got to be even more on your game. You can't waste time, especially on that initial entry, because if you waste so much time and if you allow yourself to be caught with 30 seconds left and you have to go for the push and the mirror windows are still a factor, this map leaves you pretty much no options.
I mean, the most recent changes, being able to punch them out from the black side of it. I mean, if you're bold enough, yeah, you can to make that happen, but a defending player more than likely will be sitting on it. Drones in, players in, they're looking to get things underway into Piano. Mikey should be the first one to charge on through, but Okami make the call. They all back off. They say, no, we don't want to be too aggressive here. We don't want to lose players this early. So they default back. They play the defensive positions they've set up for themselves, and that's really smart play.
Well, we see now Karn successfully pushing out the player on the top floor, but they're actually not going to step in just yet to clear that. Sonar is the first player to actually, drop in with Mikey on the red stairs, but they're not going to fully get the manpower in on this top floor just yet. They're waiting a little bit to do that. Now, whether that is because they don't want to go for the full clear and they want to go for a fireplace hall push instead is yet to be seen. But now that we do see both Whitlock and Karn himself rotating around towards mining, it does look like a fireplace hall execute may be in the cards for us. Now, you don't need full vertical control to do that, but it will certainly help you. And at the bare minimum, you've got to clear out those players in Piano because the vertical play can prove too impactful. It looks like Whitlock, however, not on the vertical play, but just near the site itself, will take the first engagement and win it against Bry.
Rice here, he has to hit the shot when Zeno eventually pushes up at a frag grenade. The swing, that's it. That's exactly what you want. That keeps Bonger in play. And they should be able to hold down and deny this train push for the moment. If they'd lost that initiation, if they'd lost Matt as well as a follow-up, because Zeno is a player that can hit those shots on the fly, that would have been hugely detrimental. Now Karn and Co. have to slightly adapt the play because they don't have that security in the plant because they couldn't take the position. They've even rotated Mikey in to try and take it over. Now this could get very deadly. No, looking the wrong way. Mikey almost finds the second. The plant going down. It's denied. And they've just missed the opportunity once again. Zeno, Whitlock as well. It's all down to Sona. I don't know if that Parabellum experience is going to do it for him here. He's swinging around. He's looking for the angle with 20 seconds left in which to make it happen. He's tagged heavy, and it's all come apart. Okami will tie things up.
As if on cue, the mirror window wins the round. It's that crazy. The power of that position, normally, that is not a position you can hold. You're going to reinforce one of those walls, maybe neither, and you're just going to play off the swing, play off some intel you've got. But if you've got a mirror window, the intel is unlimited. And, well, frankly, Karn & Co., they knew that. So they put so much focus, or at least some focus, because this is kind of where the issues came in, into clearing that position. They knew there would be somebody on white stairs to support, and they knew they had to brute force their way in. Zeno was the first player to try it. He just crouch walk up the white stairs. He had a nade in hand, and a perfectly timed swing meant that he couldn't get the job done. Then it was Mikey's turn, who also took that fight, got the first, but then miraculously, Matt Bonger was able to pull out the kill with the Vector, preventing him from dealing with that Mira position. And that right there meant that Matt Bonger could persist, and he was able to get those several next kills. As a result, Karn was already planting the diffuser because he knew that it was make or break for Mikey. That if Mikey got that kill, he could get the diffuser down safely, and they had a chance of winning the round. But he knew as well that if Mikey wasn't able to do it, he might as well just try to use that moment as a distraction, because if Mikey died to Matt, the round is all but over. And it was. We saw that. The Matt Bonger position was simply too strong behind the mirror window, and Karn & Co. couldn't really get that bomb down. It was an easy swing for Matt, and Okami cleaned them up.
I mean, maybe it would have been a different story if they had some coverage. I think maybe if a Jackal was in play, they could have made it work a little bit better there, but unfortunately, no, it's a Nomad. It doesn't work. They had to commit 2 players, and they still only found the 1 frag of the 2 that they needed to try and actually commit to that plant. Okami, I mean, the shakiness that we saw in their first half, they've definitely gotten rid of it here on the defense. They're looking comfortable. They're looking to play their angles. Yeah, Karn looking to try and upset where they can, but Okami, with the confidence to back themselves in those gunfights, have won them up till now.
Well, you talk about the confidence, and that is what we're going to see from J Slime here. He's going to go with what we call the rat roam, the sit in the corner, cross your fingers, and hope. Matt Bonger's job is to prevent J Slime from getting droned out, and he will do his job properly because J Slime pops up and gets a kill. Opening pick did go the way of Karn & Co., and they were able to take down Bry, but a good trade from Matt Bonger before eventually falling to Whitlock. Rice now taken down. There goes J Slime, and Okami's very aggressive play has been an absolute failure. This is a first floor bomb site defense after all, and now it's just Exo alone against 4.
Shoots the air jab out. 2 players, sensory overload, and unfortunately he's gonna have to run himself back in. It was such a good recovery there for Okami, and now Exo all of a sudden wonders what the hell went wrong, why all his teammates are dead. But I mean, J Slime absolutely slammed Zeno. For some reason, Matt Bonger decides to hang around. If they'd gotten that kill and then both backed off, this might have been a salvageable round. Unfortunately, not the case. Karn & Co. move up once again, and they are now 1 round away from match point.
And unfortunately, we weren't quite able to catch it, but Bry dying right off the bat. No idea how that happened. No idea how Bry was so aggressive that he died within, 30 seconds, maybe 20 seconds even, of the round starting. Maybe he went for a run out, maybe a spawn peek, maybe just an aggressive over positioning or something like that. But losing that early engagement really put those roamers, like you said, Blue, into a very, very tough spot because they knew that they had to get a kill and try to rotate away, but they no longer had the support of Brian. So they said, you know what, maybe we have to get even more aggressive to equalize the man count. And as you said, hanging around a bit too long, Matt Bonger losing his life, leaving the Vigil alone to kind of rotate back to the site without the protection of his teammate. And that's how he got caught out by the attacker already positioned in reading room, providing, I might add, really good flank watch. So much better coordination there from Karn & Co. And with that, they will regain the lead that they had lost.
Yeah, I mean, from what I gathered in that round, it was just Exo down on the first floor. The rest of the team were up roaming, playing those aggressive positions. I couldn't speak quite as to where Bry was because we didn't get to see where he died, but I mean, at some point, leaving one person to the side is going to fail. And unfortunately, when everyone else is dead, it's almost guaranteed to fail.
Right, I mean, you're not even giving Kitchen Sight a chance there. We talked about how they were avoiding Kitchen until that last round, and, well, no kidding, their setup for it sucked. They just all wanted to hang out upstairs and take aggressive fights.
I mean, so much so to the fact that they didn't play the site itself.
Right! We never saw a gunfight actually happen downstairs until we saw Exo eventually die, yeah, but we never really saw how Kitchen defense, if Okami had a competent Kitchen defense, and once again, we're not going to see it. At least for now, because they're headed right back upstairs to a bomb site that they were able to secure just 2 rounds ago. In round number 7, they took this one. We highlighted how it's been messy. Frankly, all of these have been messy, but they did a really good job once more leveraging those mirror windows to their advantage. This time, even though Karn just won the round, we need to see Karn and Co. make an adjustment on their own, an adjustment to deal with these mirror windows. And frankly, I would love to see a different approach and maybe a cocktail-sided attack. We haven't seen that yet for either of these teams. You highlighted how powerful that heaven swing was from Xeno last time. No surprise. It's because cocktail side is a little bit weaker. Why not gear up a little bit more of the attacking pressure towards that side entirely?
Rice looking to play a few mind games, punches out that VIP entrance door, and yeah, Mikey's doesn't want a bar of it, so he's going to keep an eye on the door for the moment. Little do they know, Rice has decided that no, it's not going to be a contest. It's just a bit of a bait and switch. So seeing Okami playing those mind games, trying to bait out or preemptively set Karn up for something that isn't going to happen, that's huge. Right now, though, Karn and Co don't seem to care. They're straight into Cigar Shop. They're looking to set up those angles. They're still taking very impressive ground.
Yeah, especially so early in this round. I mean, we're only 60 seconds in, and Karn and Co, they are already up and at 'em. No early pressure from Okami, this time contesting in Cigar Shop. Nobody actually trying to contest the drop that Mikey just made into the red stairs. Whitlock safely in the building, at least for now. Don't want to get too ahead of myself here, but they know they're in a good spot to begin, and Okami, because they know they have to make some ground up now, we saw Rice maybe attempt to swing back down by Garage, but he will be dissuaded from that because Sonar kept a watchful eye on that position.
There's a chance that this could go horribly wrong, and unfortunately for Bonga, it's going down again. Like I could say Matt, but Bong is much more entertaining to say, and unfortunately it doesn't matter for him because he's dead anyway. They now give up this position. White is looking very, very dangerous, and on the dime, Karn and Co have turned this into a round which they are well and truly in control of.
Oh, great kill there from Xeno, a double kill on the round. We talked about the importance of these adjustments and dealing with these mirror windows, and just by doing that, they've given themselves more than a fighting chance here. Now, unfortunately, Karn himself has once again been dropped down, so now Karn and Co as a whole are going to have to figure out how to fight their way back. Mikey gets one, but J-Slime with a little quick trade here, and Bry, playing aggressively, will respond in kind. Now, thankfully, for Karn and Co, you've got Mikey, and he will find yet another trade, so it's J-Slime in this aggressive position on the bomb chassis. Last hope for this defense. Great shot there through the wall, but once again, Mikey's there for the trade. So in the end, J-Slime just couldn't pull it out, and it will be Karn and Co, the first team to have their eyes on match point. And a reminder, this is Cafe, this is map 1, Okami's map pick, and right now they are down 2 rounds and risking losing this opening map.
That was, I mean, that could have been such a big clutch up there for J-Slime. He had the advantage, not only that he had a nitro cell as well to maybe make a play off of, but I think he was just so flummoxed that someone had walked into his crosshairs, didn't quite react in the time they need to. Plus that drone somehow copping a shot and keeping Karn and Co in with a chance, and now they move on to map point. I mean, that mirror window in Washroom is so risky, and Xeno read into it perfectly. Matt Bonga pulls off the angle at the worst possible time and gets shut down. We saw 2 prime examples of siege timing go in the favor of Karn and Co. And Okami, I mean, they're going to have to be praying to Lord Tachanka that it doesn't happen again.
Well, it was clear that Okami knew what they had to do to protect Matt Bonger in that position. That's why, for the first time, we saw Rice on the Jaeger in the last round, try to swing from that, freezer hall, that garage doorway that faces the entire south side of the building. The importance of that for Rice was to prevent somebody like Xeno from getting on the rappel and dealing with Matt Bonger. But again, because Rice, his position was spotted out and Sonar was keeping a watchful eye for, I'd say, a good 2 minutes in that round, Rice wasn't able to do that. And as a result, Xeno was allowed to rappel up, allowed to take care of Matt Bonger, and then eventually allowed to rotate over to that heaven window and once again wreak havoc from the backside of the defense. So now Okami, they have 2 rounds they need to take in a row to send this one to OT. They're going to really want this one again, especially because this is their map choice and it is their first map of SCS. And with this opening engagement, it looks like EXO is trying to get aggressive and hope that aggression can be Okami's instrument of success.
Well, I mean, at the moment, Mikey is playing a huge game. 15-5. Obviously, Adele is pumping right now, and it's given him the energy that he needs to pull off this performance. Right now, 1 round away from the win and pushing us to our second map of the day. Okami, I mean, again, they've got the right tools. They've got the sight. They've already proved that they can hold on to this one. If they do the same things again, we could see this one go to overtime. Karn and Co, though, have already shown that they can adapt on the fly, which could undo everything Okami set up.
Well, we can hear the C4 now rip from Matt Bonger, trying to provide support here on that cocktail rappel, trying to allow these cocktail players to remain here for as long as possible. He knows how important it will be to maintain control of this top floor, because if Matt Bonger is threatened on this position in Fireplace Hall once again, well, that could be that make or break point in the round, much like we discussed last time. Here it is, C4 connecting beautifully with Sonar. Your Nomad is gone. Your flank watch is gone. Hopefully he was able to get those air jabs before he perished. Now Mikey's going to do it the hard way, though. He's just going to walk up and take a gunfight, winning the first one against Brian. Now Matt's in a tough spot. Whitlock will take a fight with J-Slime, but won't be able to save the life of his teammate Karn, who dies right in front of his eyes. So we're still in that even 3v3, but the map control Karn and Co have secured is very strong right now. They've forced Okami into an uncomfortable spot. They can no longer hold those mirror windows, no longer hold the positions they really want to. They're going to have to fight their way out of this. Exo starting things off well. Good C4 there onto Whitlock.
Taking down all this soft bridge right now, so the vert, it's as it will be for the remainder of the round. Xeno looking to maybe make a play off of the hatch into Laundry. Matt Bonger as well over towards Train. So the spread is very convincing. Mikey outside on the reading door, spotted, downed. Matt Bonger is going to take him out of the equation, which means it's now in the hands of Xeno in 30 seconds in which to do it. He's going to get the pickup, in fact. So it will be both of them. They do have the drones, so they can clear out the Saria gate. And in fact, no, they're going to re-aggress elsewhere, trying to get into Fireplace potentially. They knew that there was someone in mining, but not there anymore. Matt Bonger rotating through Train. We'll see the gun, but Xeno! What a shot! Rice answers back with both of them, though. Okami, 1 round to take us to OT.
Well, that was an impressive shot from Xeno, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to win the round as a whole. Still had to deal with Rice, and that is clearly more easier said than done. But great job there in the end from Okami to make a couple of on-site adjustments. That is the highlight of the round, no question about it. And I think that may be one of my favorite Okami rounds so far. Not because it was dominant, because clearly it wasn't, but the way they moved around on that bomb site, realizing what Karn and Co had done and realizing that they only had a couple of options to counter it. One of those options was to not only just shift slightly away from those defensive power positions they wanted to hold, but it was to shift substantially from those positions and maybe play a bit more unexpected and a bit more aggressive. Because in that 3v3, a smart defensive team like Okami in this case proved that they understood that Karn & Co could no longer maintain as much map control as they would like. They had lost Sonar after all. They had lost the use of any additional air jabs. They had lost someone on the dedicated flank watch, and Matt Bonger said, you know what? That means it's my time to shine. He rotated all the way through Dining, all the way around towards Train and Mining, and took a gunfight and won it. And that was one of the most pivotal rounds in the defense as a whole, and a great indicator of kind of the strategy Okami employed at those last few seconds to actually get the job done. So props to them for that.
Interesting. So we do see the pivot of the mirror window. It's no longer going to be looking into piano. It's going to be looking through back stock and into the site itself, trying to cover that new belt position that we've seen Karn and Co look to get into nice and early. Look at the vert angles. So we do see some minor adaptations coming through for Okami. They want to play things just a little bit different. They want to contest that top red hatch as well. So this change, I mean, it's risky, but it's something that could well and truly upset and push them to OT.
Oh, well, here's a beautiful angle here from J-Slime. All the way from Train, up through piano, up through the red hatch, trying to get aggressive and maybe take this early engagement. We have seen a general theme, not 100% success rate, but these opening picks have often resulted in those round wins, and J Slime trying to give Okami that early edge they need to send this one to OT. Now, he hasn't been able to find that gunfight yet
Oh.
because nobody from Karn has exposed himself, but it looks like somebody else may be looking for their turn. It might be Bry this time to get aggressive.
He's positioned himself in fireplace right on the window. It's punched out, ready to go. J Slime with some big damage onto Mikey, playing that vert angle. Might even look to do a little bit more, but no, they've already circumvented it. They're pushing in on the third floor at the moment. Mikey positioned, and Cigar wants to clear out that pixel shield. They want to get in. They want to take some significant control right now. And J Slime, unfortunately, that position isn't going to pay out too much more in the remainder of the round. Ooh, I say that. There is a player, it looks like Xeno, positioned above the hatch, looking for the info, but no, pull-off happens, and for the rest of the round, it is going to come down to those linear gunfights, and okay, never mind, Rice with a massive nitro.
Yeah, great kill there to shut down Mikey, the player who has 16 kills right now, but he'll find no more, at least in regulation. We'll have to wait to overtime to make his impact felt. It's Xeno's turn to step up. He's also in the double digits, but not quite the 16 kills that Mikey has, only 10 thus far, and now hoping that maybe just, creeping his way up in Cigar, he can find some kills with that type of strategy. He'll be joined by Whitlock, another powerful gunner right behind, but now they'll actually make the aggressive move to push up on in, but he's staring a mirror window in the face, and maybe he wasn't prepared for that. He'll fall. Exo gets another. Karn with the plant. Whitlock on the coverage, but in the middle of the site, there's nothing he can do. It's all up to Karn with the bearing 9. He'll get 2, but he has to find 2 more. He's got 100 HP, so that is something to work with here, and he knows that Okami are the ones who have to aggress, but he's got to be careful. He's got a mirror window to use, but he needs to keep eyes on that diffuser, because in a 2v1, all one person has to do is defuse, and the other person has to cover. Now, setting up a crossfire are Okami. Karn spots one, can't quite land the fatal blow, looks for it, gets it, one more to find, but no, J Slime gets the kill in the final moments, as expected in the 2v1, and Okami, with ample time remaining, will send us to OT.
That came far too close for comfort for Okami, but at least they get OT, they get the chance. Yeah. No, we didn't quite see that race, unfortunately. But I mean, look, the change, it was all the change that Okami put into that round. They made these minor adaptations, and it was enough to well and truly gut Karn & Co.'s attempt at the plant. Yes, Carnage still got it down. Yes, Carnage found some big kills after the fact, but they played the number game. They won the trade. They then got the defuse. Now to OT. And we see Okami starting on the defense, Jay. This, honestly, this might just slip away from Karn & Co.
Very well could. I mean, Okami have clearly built up some of that defensive momentum, right? They were able to take 4 rounds overall on the defense, that being their preferred half, 4-2 splits on both sides of the coin, and they know what sites work for them, or at least in part. They haven't had a clean site that has been that 100% success rate, rather Reading Room has been. So that's why they're going here. Both in round number 8 and round number 11, Reading Room, they found success, but they've had mixed results on Bar and Cocktail and Kitchen. Well, a bizarre attempt from that, so they're going to avoid it entirely. But yes, Blue, starting on defense is always an advantage, at least almost always an advantage on every single map in this pool right now. And they'll be looking to use that as strong as they can. They'll be heading once again to Reading Room, employing this top floor setup and employing the fateful mirror on Matt Bonger. That's going to be key, and Karn & Co. will know they have to deal with that, and that checklist, the attacking checklist of a utility they've got to clear out, and map control they've got to take, it's just going to keep getting longer as long as those mirror windows are still a factor.
I mean, the wild thing is, Okami has matched Karn & Co. round for round. First round, Karn & Co. takes, Okami answers back. Karn & Co. take 3 more, Okami then takes 3 more. Karn & Co. bag 2, Okami bag 2 to take us to overtime. So every step of the way, Okami has been able to match Karn & Co. Unfortunately now, with only a maximum of 3 rounds to be played here, it's anyone's guess how this could close out.
Right, it looks like Okami, given the success they've had in the past 2 rounds with some early aggression, they're going to continue with that theme. Now, the C4 from Exo will actually not come up, nor will any bullets. He'll back off for the time being, waiting for Karn to get a little bit further in the building before they make their move. Now, a nade coming down from Whitlock will really be perfect Actually, I think it was able to sneak underneath that Surya gate and deal with that first Vulcan shield. So well thrown. And a great start in terms of utility clear for Karn and Co. They know what they've got to get done. And even though we're only, about 70 seconds into this round, they are well underway in dealing with that. Now, everyone actually getting boots on the ground and taking a couple of gunfights here. And Whitlock proving that he'll be the one to rotate around towards this heaven window and provide a cutoff if necessary. They've successfully forced Okami back further into Cocktail, into less powerful positions. They've just got to move up now and take that control.
This is so good for Karn and Co. Yeah, the shots through the window, it's gonna distract and force them to play back. They don't want to commit or lose a player in this position. Nitro thrown, but shot out there by Whitlock. That could have been hugely devastating. Player on the white stairs window, and Matt Bonga is gonna rip the head off of Sona. Unfortunately, in the 5 versus 4, Okami with the tools in place to make this one work.
Well, we can see that second Vulcan shield by Planks dealt with as well, and we can see Karn and Co. now dropping into this top floor and taking full control. So they've forced Okami back. That's half the battle here, but they've got to get some frags, and Mikey will start things up. Carnage B will get a kill onto Rice there, and now it's a 4v3, all of a sudden favoring Karn & Co. They've taken the control they need, and they've started to get these frags, but Matt Bonger and these mirror windows, do not underestimate how important these can be, and he's also going to be looking for some frags, taking a direct engagement with Whitlock here, but backing off now that they have 25 seconds left to attack this Karn & Co. They know they have to get moving. Karn, he'll step up, and he'll go for this plant, but Okami, they're going to be well aware of this, and Mikey on the coverage is going to be pivotal here. Bry, top floor retake, this is big. He gets one and now has perfect vertical control. He sees the diffuser, and he sees the head of Karn. He can relay this intel, and he can relay what he needs. He'll get the kill himself. Not before one kill could be found on the way of Karn & Co., and it's going to be a very important retake here for Exo down below. Supported from Bry above, they are getting this down perfectly. It's all up to Mikey. He'll get one, only has to find one more, and Bry has to get aggressive. He'll swing out into Pillar, looking for this gunfight, and he catches Mikey looking the other way. That's a quad kill from Bry. That is a beautiful top floor retake, and that is a round for Okami in overtime.
Another clutch that does not go the way of Karn & Co. They dropped the first round of overtime, and honestly, it was gearing up to be such a good round for Karn & Co., but Bry, with the miraculous Herculean run, finds 4 and completely upsets. I mean, the plant attempt was good. They had their coverage. It went down. Massive whiff shots, but Karn was finally taken down. I mean, everything, like all the cards were stacked for Karn & Co. They just couldn't find the winning hand.
Well, the 100% success rate for Okami on Reading Room continues. They're not going to have to worry about that site anymore. Now their focus will shift, of course, to the attacking side, where they will have to attack Bar and Cocktail. That is where Karn & Co. will be looking to defend. Once again, Bar and Cocktail has also had that 100% success rate for Karn & Co., so they'll be looking to continue that pattern as Okami will be fighting their hardest to break it up. On this top floor, the most interesting element from Karn & Co.'s defenses is they didn't start initially with that mirror window in play. I think it was round 1 and 2 where we didn't see the mirror employed at all. They finally got a bit wise, and they did employ the Mira eventually, maybe realizing she's unbanned. And now that they've seen Okami use the Mira to perfection, naturally, they've got to continue with those black mirrors as well. Something that's been impactful for Okami consistently has been Matt Bonger and those Miras, and even though Matt Bonger isn't that top frag, you see Bry with 14, J-Slime with 10, the kills Matt Bonger has gotten him those positions has been more impactful than any other individual kill any other player has secured. So Zeno will be looking to, embody that Matt Bonger energy as he switches to the defensive side.
Oh, undoubtedly. I mean, Matt Bonger's kills have just been some of the biggest. I mean, you think back to what would have been round 8 or something like that. He was sitting on the mirror window, halfway up white, and I mean, Rice dies. Yeah. Matt Bonger able to frag back and denies the rest of the round completely from Karn & Co. So yeah, it may not be the biggest numbers for him, but every single kill that he's found has been one that is translated into a massive advantage.
Well, Karn, they're not looking to just sit around this time. Not looking to sit behind a mirror window. They are like hunting for these kills actively. You can see this duo roaming around the second floor of Zeno and Mikey, and they'll be looking to find some kills just directly. Obviously, Zeno has a C4, so he can provide that secondary impact felt from below, while Mikey maybe provides some sort of intel here, but it all comes down to what Karn and Co know about this push. Do they know that there's nobody actually in the building just yet? Nobody actually in Piano. It's J Slime, the first one to make that push. But again, Piano is not the focus right now. They're just focusing on Nubalk, just focusing on getting that cigar control. But there's a good breaching charge, and that means Zeno knows what's going on. And if that C4 is pre-placed and is not destroyed, it's not. This could be pretty big. This could be pretty big right here.
Just waiting on the info, waiting on the confirmation that they can go for the detonate there. Zeno could do a lot of damage. And I believe that's exactly what we heard, unfortunately. So nothing found just yet. Whitlock playing on the window is the one to call that. And unfortunately, they can't turn it into a kill. Still 10 players alive in the lobby. Mikey is so close to his 20 bomb here in map 1. Unfortunately, he may not get it if he goes down early.
Yeah, he's taking these aggressive gunfights early and wants to, add to that tally, but of course he runs the risk of falling and leaving his team out to dry. It's Whitlock, the first player actually forced back here. Okami doing a great job dealing with that very risky bathroom mirror window, and because of that, Karn looks to try to get aggressive and take a gunfight, and J-Slime is going to punish him for that. Whitlock on the retreat gets caught out by Bry, so it's going to have to be Mikey, who's been king of the trade game so far, to respond. He'll deal with Matt Bonger, but now he's only 1 kill away from 20, and that is a kill that Karn and Co desperately need here. Okami have the edge in this 4v3.
There's only 30 seconds remaining. They could lose this. Zeno for 1 before he's traded out. Bry dropped as well by Sona. That's diffuser control down, which means this could horribly swing out of their control. With the kill onto Sona, it leaves Mikey alone in an effective 1 versus 2. With J-Slime being as low as he is, it's not going to take much to finish off that kill. Hitting the final 10-second mark, diffuser still not picked up. This could go askew horribly to swing. Mikey getting aggressive. Why did he push? They didn't have the diffuser. That could have been us going to double OT.
Cafe that is a little bit more open and a little bit more free for those defensive teams to rotate around. But a shift here onto Chalet is going to be interesting because we're taking from a map that ended up being defensive-sided into a map that is on paper slightly attacker-sided.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting one. We'll see, whether that transition over the second half does punish Karn and Co again, because it really did on Cafe. They lost all momentum. Okami were able to play their game and bring it back. Now we hit the bar gaming first on Chalet. 6 pick there from the Maverick onto a Hibana, reading into the fact that there is no significant breach denial on Okami. And that could make a number of these key positions on the bar gaming defense well and truly exposed.
Well, as always, Barn Gaming, it really comes down to the top floor pressure, as does many of the bomb sites on this map, but especially games, right? It's all about library and how long you can hold that down, and more so than that, it's all about the top of those library stairs. That blue staircase that we're going to talk a lot about on this map for sure is going to hinge upon that deployable shield and how quickly, if at all, the attacking teams can take care of that shield. That's usually why we see the Wamai ban. Obviously, the Wamai is incredible on every site and on every deployable shield, but on that position specifically, those Wamai magnets can drive an attacking team insane. And only with the ADSs to provide that projectile denial, especially on that position, those Surya gates can't really impact that much. That means it's going to should be a little bit faster for Karn and Co than it would be otherwise.
I just saw something that I'm very excited by. J-Slime playing the ACS-12 on the alibi. I'm a big advocate of the ACS-12. I love the shotgun. I mean, what, a 32-round drum mag slug shotgun that does 60-something damage per shot? You can never go wrong with something like that.
I mean, yeah, but it bodies people, especially when they're walking into the site. I mean, you just whip that bad boy out. We don't see it very often because generally the MX4 Storm, one of the I'd say the best guns in the game, is often preferred. But J-Slime?
ACS-12, nothing else.
J-Slime
even on Maestro, ACS-12. Either way, they're prepping. Oh, that frag grenade could have done some big damage. And if they don't deal with J-Slime on the mezzanine with that ACS-12 coming into the late round, I mean, not only does it punch through soft walls, the head. The head could have been absolutely ripped off from Soda. J-Slime, though, is quickly running out of space to hold.
Yeah, this is getting messy very, very fast. He'll spot out Mikey, but miss those shots. Now he'll look again, and this time connecting with maybe the chin, but not quite enough of it. And Mikey will actually win that fight out. That is an engagement where the MX4 Storm would have certainly been better. Not gonna lie, Blue, I think maybe that would have been a better choice. And Bry here, even with the advantage, Xeno whips around and well, that F2 is quite a formidable weapon, and Xeno proves that yet again by getting another kill for the side of this attack. Mikey gets that because Matt Bonger is busy shooting the stairs. Instead of Mikey's head, it's a 4v2.
Yeah, unfortunate situation here. The defense looking a little bit shakier on Chalet. Obviously, being an attacker-sided map, there's so many avenues to work with. Mikey falls. That SMG-11 going absolutely hard for EXO right now. Toxic canisters as well tonight that push Rice, looking to get aggressive out that bar door into the fireplace main lobby. Drone spots him, so Sonar has that information to work with. There's a lot that could come into the tail end of this round. Okami back themselves in the defense, but it's two quick frags. Sonar and Carnage team up for two. And Okami, unfortunately, will drop round one. Karn and Co. going back up into the lead.
Yeah, well, I'll give credit to Karn & Co. there for moving through that top floor extension pretty efficiently, but I'll also wonder, why Okami had to force the issue on that top floor as much as they did, right? Especially J-Slime, who we already talked about, really wanted to take gunfights with that ACS-12, even if he didn't have a deployable shield. He didn't have a teammate to support him, and, well, frankly, he didn't even have a wall anymore because those X-Kairos pellets opened it up. He had probably like 2 feet.
Hope and a prayer?
Yeah, well, a hope and a prayer, but 2 feet to sit and not move because you had the balcony window opened, you had the wall open behind him. He just had to cross his fingers and get a kill, maybe. Of course, he wasn't able to do that, losing that opening pick. And then we saw Okami try to get that ground back by maybe playing a bit too aggressive for their own good.
I do reckon that J-Slime is still going to be running that ACS-12. Honestly, it is such a good gun. 2 body shots is a kill, a headshot's a kill the 2 times, and it's a fully automatic slug shotgun. I mean, you can't go wrong in that situation. Right now, they are looking to invest a little bit more to support him from that spot. The last thing you want is to be isolated and shut down, but they can't be affording to give away library the way they did. Karn and Co just pushed in, took it, opened up that wall, so J-Slime was forced to cover 3 different angles, and that's what ultimately got him killed.
Right, it wasn't the gun, even though we could talk about that for a while. It was the position, and it was that Karn & Co. were coming in from just about everywhere, and because there was no more shield on the top of blue stairs, because there was nobody who could provide that support on the crossfire, he couldn't do much. And that's going to be Exo's job here, right? He wants to stay alive as much as he can. He wants to provide as much support for J-Slime, so maybe just to get some frags. But again, kills on this extension is not the priority. It's time. It is utility waste. It is time waste. And yeah, if you can get a kill, that's a nice bonus. But J-Slime is just looking to hold that position and maybe get away with his life this time, at least as someone who wants to see this round come down to the wire. I hope J-Slime does that. Maybe plays a bit safer rather than maybe playing this position as aggressively as he did last time.
Look, I'm not going to outright call the man a coward, but he has switched to the MX4 Storm. Honestly, people sleep on the ACS-12. He's going to look for an aggressive swing onto that balcony double and gets himself the hell of a dodge entirely. If he'd done this maybe in that last round, he could have had more of an impact just waiting and getting flushed out. It made it rough. Rice, though, has been absolutely decimated in the opener of the round.
Yeah, Rice, 1 HP remaining here and has to provide coverage in a very important spot in this bar stock area, right? That doorway that looks towards the game's window and that game's hatch. Very dangerous on so low HP. And it's not actually Rice who goes down first. Instead, it's both Bry and Exo who are no longer for this world. Finally, Rice is finished off by Karn as he will secure a double kill. And just like that, it's a 5v2 yet again. This bar and game site, this defense is getting torn apart. It's Matt Bonger and it is J-Slime. All that remain. J-Slime going for the aggression. He will have that MX4 Storm in hand, but all he'll find is Xeno staring him in the face, and Sonar with a nice finishing blow onto Matt Bonger. That means a flawless round is delivered by Karn & Co. That's 2 in a row.
I mean, far out. Round 1, they meet some resistance. Round 2, Karn & Co. not screwing around in the slightest. I mean, they'd taken library stairs within the first half of the round, And from there, it was just coming apart from Okami. They lost key frags. Rice lost all but a single point of his health playing that backstock position, which should be one of the most defensible places in the building if the bar side is Bob and gaming. But he was in such a position that he could, honestly, if he stuck his head out for more than a moment, he was going to die regardless. And that's not really how you want your site anchor to be sitting.
Right. I mean, that's not how you want the round to progress. I mean, at all. There was no part of that for Okami that was going the right way. They didn't get a single kill. They didn't waste the time they were looking for. And I mean, from the beginning of that round, as you said, Blue, they were losing the edge. They were losing health. They were in a whole load of a mess. And that's the kind of thing they're going to want to shake off as soon as possible. They're going to want to get the heck out of Barn Games. They're going to want to change something up. And looks like they'll be heading over to Master and Office to do that. Maybe realizing that the time waste in devoting that utility to any sort of extension is not the play. Had that worked or that part of the round worked, maybe we'd suspect them to go to Kitchen and Dining because, again, top floor presence is big on that site and time waste is big. Instead, Okami just want to go for this top floor, and they want to rely on maybe a little bit of pressure from below, maybe a late C4 coming in from Rice or Bry to deny that plant, possibly.
I mean, it's so interesting. Traditionally, I commentate ANZ, Rainbow Six Siege, so, you know, OC and OCL. But, I mean, the established meta in our region, Buck, Finka are a staple on this map on the attack. Buck, you send him down to Car Garage, especially on this office site. You open up the floor through Trophy up to Solarium and make that position nigh unholdable, and you can contest Solarium stairs as well. But, I mean, NA Siege, they're sticking with the Nomad, which, again, I just feel has been rather ineffective.
Right, and we have seen a lot of Finka, and we have seen a lot of Buck on this map, and interestingly, we have seen neither on Chalet here or on Cafe at all, and I was expecting, at the very least, to see a Buck a couple of rounds on Cafe, no indication that teams want to go for those cocktail executes, and no indication that teams want to use the power of the Skeleton Key or that Finka boost here on Chalet either, and that's a little bit concerning, not necessarily for NA Siege in general, but just for these teams who or maybe are proving that they're a little bit behind the curve. Now, for now, Karn and Co. are getting things done on time, right? They're not behind in this round just yet, but if J Slime can make the impact that he's looking to do, if he can be that surprise factor that Karn and Co. aren't aware of, then indeed, Karn and Co. could shift to the back foot.
I just realized that we're seeing the Scorpion Evo coming up at J-Slime. I'm so used to seeing the FO12 come into play, but it's not to be. No skill cannon. And with J-Slime making his way up library stairs, well and truly could find the pinch, but he's going to duck into mud for now. Doesn't want to give away the goat just yet. And Sonar may not have an idea. He's aiming that way, so maybe he does. Audio cues coming through. Carnage tucks himself in behind the half wall, tanking the toxic cancer for the plant. Brian Exo quickly falls. So does Matt Bonga. It's an absolute wash of kills go in the way of Carnage. Sona finds J-Slime. Knew it. Rice answers back for one, but it does not matter. Worth a damn. Karn and Co. are looking to make up for lost time.
And they are looking to speed run the heck out of this map. I mean, that was decisive in that execute. That was one of probably the first genuine, quote unquote, executes we've seen all day, right? We saw a lot of shenanigans on Cafe and a lot of just back and forth gunfights. And yeah, we saw some plants, but that one was coordinated. Karn and Co. had set that one up from the get-go. They had one player, as always, on that master window rappel. They had Xeno positioned on that bathroom window, ready to jump in at a moment's notice and deal with the piano players, and they had perfect coverage from just about everywhere. The biggest concern there for Okami was when we saw that nice little overview there, shout out Max, our wonderful observer, it looked like Okami was already out of position for that. Like, even if Karn and Co. hadn't been set up as perfectly, I have no idea what Kami were hoping was going to be their plant denial solution, because Rice, who had a C4 on the Kaid, he was all the way back in Solarium. Bryce, who had a C4, was nowhere to be found. They had nobody down below to play with that C4 from beneath and dining. It seemed that they had no contingency plan, and that's what's a little bit concerning. It suggests a lack of preparation, maybe a lack of map knowledge, but clearly it was a lack of execution and planning for Okami as a whole, because not only have we seen a flawless round, but we just saw a gorgeous attack from Karn, followed by 2 wins. I mean, they are looking clean right now.
I mean, and Ferme's going to hate me for saying that because apparently he's got it stuck in his head. But coming into this, you look at the situation, and there are tools that are available to both teams on the attack and on the defense in terms of operators that neither of them have been touched. And I think maybe this speaks to just NA being stuck in their ways. It looks like it's going to be a full set, and Mikey inside it for two before Mikey's dropped down. Zeno on the backside finds a slammer of a headshot as Whitlock is already on the plant. Zeno for a double in the round. It's smash and grab Siege. EXO alone, and we're only just hitting sort of that 2-minute mark. It's quick, it's a flurry. EXO finds one back, but again, it does not count for much. A 3 versus 1 here, Jay. 30 seconds left to go. EXO completely isolated from the diffuser, looking for a player outside. Can't find it, can't find anything. Honestly, I'd just go sit down in the bar and drink my sorrows away.
Can't even see at this point. He's being constantly flashed. He's got no time. So Blue, he's going to do that. He's going to sit back on the stairwell. Maybe not in the bar, but he is going to essentially surrender the round. Sonar is going to look away. I don't know what he was doing, but it doesn't matter because he gets the kill anyway. What a peculiar end to that round, but what a decisive push. Blue, I know you had a lot to say there, and Karn and Co just said, you know what, Blue, I'm sorry, but I have to cut you off. I'm going to speed run this site. I'm going to get into this map, and I'm going to get the bomb down. What a choice there. No Finka either, no Lion, sticking with the same lineup, didn't want to telegraph any of their intentions, and just going for the full sprint anyway.
I mean, the audacity to make a call. You know what? We're just going to full send. Straight into bathroom, straight into piano, take the side, get the plant down, and the round was over. Okami had no idea what hit them, and EXO was left really. You could see it. He's just sitting there saying, what the hell just happened? Where's my team? What's going on?
You never like to see that. That is not what you want to be saying, especially when you're already 4 rounds into a map, and 4 rounds that have gone horrendously for the defense. I mean, naturally, as an attacker-sided map, I mean, theoretically, Okami are fine still, as long as they get these next 2 rounds. But the fact that they haven't even found a single objective that they've won, they're not comfortable on any of these sites. They've been reluctant to go to kitchen and dining thus far, so the fact that they're going there now, well, Blue, it certainly doesn't give me a lot of confidence here. And Karn and Co, we talk confidence. They're clearly feeling good. We saw Zeno just rush in, get a couple of kills, and then he whipped out the pistol and tried to go for a trick shot. So despite whatever happened with them on map 1, they've come out here on map 2 to make a statement.
I mean, honestly, it feels almost ironic that J Slime has Kitty in his name because he looks like a lost kitten. He just done the rotation of different operators. I mean, why not bring something like the Aruni, chuck a couple of gates on Solarium, make Karn and Co actually have to work to get in that Solarium position because they did it in quick fashion. They took control. Slow down the push. The Malusi's not achieving much. Everything that we've seen J Slime pick up, the Ella didn't do anything at all. The Mute, I don't know if it's going to do much here. Be audacious, be bold, pick something that you're not used to playing and that fits into what you're trying to do.
Right, at this point, I mean, being down 4 rounds and being absolutely destroyed.
All that utilities on the site is gone. Like,
right.
They know Zeno's playing Twitch.
They haven't done enough. They haven't done enough to counter Karn, and they haven't done enough to just think outside of the box here. I totally get what you're saying, Blue. Like, they are at a point where just pull out all the stops now. You're like, in desperation now on this defense.
Or something. Like, just try and upset the momentum.
You've got to find a way to shift something up, and if that means picking an operator you don't normally run, do it anyway. Just try to change the rhythm here, because right now, Karn and Co, they are rolling through with confidence, and Mikey is looking to take these early gunfights again. He'll spot out, I believe that's the head of EXO. He'll get a couple of wide swings there, but won't actually be able to get any shots exchanged. Rice as well is looking to get a couple of fights going, but a nade will shut him down. No hope for him.
Honestly, just swinging in, Mikey finds a double. He's just hitting them with the catch, this loser, and marches onto the site with the rest of the team. Whitlock's got the cross. They've got so much invested. Look, it's lines in the sand, and Karn and Co are the ones to draw them. We are moments away from another potential flawless round. Karn decides not to commit to the defuse right now, but you look at the positions, the angles that are being watched. Karn and Co have the advantage. Unfortunately, they don't see the player in kitchen. Matt Bonga gets away with 2 somehow before he's dropped, but Karn and Co are in charge. They They are not dropping anything right now.
They cannot be stopped. And that was seconds away from being a flawless round, even though, Matt Bonger getting one kill in the closing moments just stopped the possibility of that. But I can't believe we're at a point, Blue, where we're talking about, oh, great job, Okami. Hey, you stopped the flawless round. Good job, guys. That is not a good sign for Okami at all. And it's not a good sign that they have gone to Bar and Games, Master and Office, and now Kitchen and Dining, and they have yet to win a single round. They have yet to get even remotely close. And that's what's so concerning. Obviously, Chalet is, you could call it more unexplored territory for your average team. And we know Okami have been formed more recently. This is a newer team, a newer stack, competent players, but maybe the experience together is not something they've had a lot of. But it's so surprising because, yeah, they didn't look gorgeous on Cafe, but they knew what they were doing, and they won the map against a very competent team, as we're seeing right now. Yet they look lost here on Chalet, and it is puzzling, to say the least.
I mean, Sonar, who was the bottom of both leaderboards last map, did not even come close to even the bottom of Okami's leaderboard. 6-0 right now. Has yet to die here on Chalet, and has 6 kills as a nomad. I mean, I tentatively use this phrase, but Okami have shit the bed.
It's tough for them. It is really tough. And, round 6, it's their final opportunity here. Maybe they can get a miracle, and maybe they can get around. And maybe that's not going to change the course of the map, but at least remind them what it feels like to win a round, please. I mean, you need some way to get this momentum back, or at least stop the bleeding. Not looking great right now, to be frank. And Bry has taken a lot of damage. He's backed on off, but nearly got cut out right off the gate here. And will now be hoping that maybe they can hold down this top floor. The fact that nobody from Okami is dead and we're 60 seconds in, that's a game changer. That's something we haven't seen for quite some time. And maybe that suggests they're off to a good start this time.
I mean, do we want to talk about the fact that Sona has the same number of kills as Okami as a team?
No, let's just avoid that.
Yeah, there is not a lot going for Okami. And it might be a case they don't have much experience playing this map as a team, but there is no reason why they beat Karn and Co. on, Cafe, and then fail to pick up a single round on Chalet. They should have some knowledge. They should have something that they could pull out that will enable them to win a round. But we have seen absolutely nothing of note from Okami here on Chalet. Yeah, you have to hope that if we do, which we are looking like we are going to, go to that decider, it is a different story, because this is getting depressing.
Right, and the beautiful thing for Karn and Co. is that they are learning something every single round about what works against Okami. They are finding these weaknesses, and yeah, even if they don't win this one flawlessly, it looks like they're well on their way to winning this in some capacity. When you head to that third map, you now know so much more about what works against this defensive team, this team as a whole. You know how to exploit those weaknesses. For the first time, we're actually going to see a trade here come out for Okami, and they're actually going to take the advantage now that Bry is able to silence Mikey for good. Sonar will work his way back in this round, continuing his deathless run. 7-0 for him, and Whitlock on the follow-up to Bry means that you've got 3 players on the side of Karn looking to take down, 2 players with a combination of 3 kills through 5 rounds so far. Not too much of a tough task for them to get done, and they've got 30 seconds. They've got an opening into this site. They just got to find these last 2 defenders and just go for this push.
I mean, Soda at the moment is the anti-super, which is something that I never thought I'd say on a broadcast. Right now, with 17 seconds of which to make it happen, they find one. Sona will finally go down the swing on Rice for a second. And all of a sudden, Carnage finds himself alone, shut down. And I don't know necessarily whether or not that was Okami playing the round the way they needed to, or Karn and Co. throwing away a very solid lead.
What was odd about that final push was it was just separate pushes from Karn and Co. I'm not sure why they didn't play together at all. I mean, that was the most disjointed moment we've seen from them as a whole. That's kind of a situation of the confidence maybe getting the better of them, overconfidence in those last few gunfights where they're just like, everyone from Okami is bad. Let's just walk in and try to get kills. It worked on some occasions, but in that final 2v3, great job there from Okami. Yikes. Right, I had tentatively say great job from those last two players to get that win. So 5-1.
What
Okami
you mean
stopped the
is, good
bleeding.
job you haven't been 7-0 or
Right,
gone
right,
down 6-0 at the half. So like,
exactly.
you take your wins where you can.
Yeah, it's a small win, but it is a win nonetheless. And maybe now they can move into the favorable side of this map with an understanding of how to win a round. Hey, you never know.
Unless it was just a charity round from Karn and Co, who felt bad. You know, the team that took them to overtime on Cafe has only just gotten their first round in the second map. I thought we were going to go for a speedrun record here. But Karn and Co head onto the defense, which, I mean, was their superior side on Cafe, and you would imagine that that is probably going to translate here onto Chalet. Just because it tends to lean a little bit more attacker side, it doesn't mean that all that strength that you possess as a defender-sided team is going to go away. So, Okami, 1 round, cool, that's great. 4 more, please, before we start to think this might actually be a challenge.
Right. I mean, I think for our sake, I mean, Okami, we know you're going to lose the map. Might as well do it quickly. I mean, come on. We got to get to map 3 here. We've got a show to run. No, but in all seriousness, I'm hoping this one gets close. I'm hoping Okami keep it tight because, after all, in order for that map 3 to be tight, both of these teams need to be in a roughly even footing in terms of, you know, the overall momentum, their overall mental game. And if Okami can just get a couple of rounds here, even if they don't win the map, couple of rounds will actually do a lot to benefit this team as they move into potentially, again, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here, but potentially getting into that 3rd map of Oregon. But for now, Okami, unlike the Karn attacks, they are going to be starting things off a little bit slowly, just looking to get an early idea of where some of these defenders are positioned. And Mikey will make the most peculiar decision we've seen all day. He will use a C4 to open up an angle, and Mikey will then die to the very angle he opened up. It's okay.
I don't know. If Okami somehow come back and win this 2-0, I'm not sure if I want to hang around for the second match. I don't think my brain can handle it. Right now, yeah, that was an insanely questionable decision. I don't know what the plan was there from Mikey at all. He would have been better playing the stairs. Sona finds the kill onto Rice before he swung on. It's a trade. Both kills going advantage of Karn despite losing one. They find yet another. J Slime, his 1 frag, looking to find a friend right now. And oh no, the vert angles again coming into play. Where are these trades coming from? I'm so confused.
Hey, J-Slime got it, so that's his 2nd kill, and that is a good one, because now you've located a couple more of these defenders. You knew where Whitlock was at least a couple of moments ago, but now he's a mystery. You do know where Zeno is, and you're taking the fight to him, but Whitlock needs to support his teammates somehow. Zeno dangerously low on HP here, and getting aggressive. Exo, no problem for him. He'll take that kill for free, and now Whitlock will be alone in a 1v2. Now, Exo is low. You can get that kill, no problem. And he'll actually get the kill onto J-Slime first, making this one quickly in the favor of Whitlock. Because now Exo, who has to get this bomb down eventually, is 1 HP. He's got time, though. He doesn't have to stick this defuse, and just Whitlock running up and giving that sound cue means that Exo will take the time he has and wait a bit longer. But now he has to make the decision. Does he want to push up and take the fight? He does. And Whitlock, are you kidding me, will be asleep at the wheel. Not looking the right place at the right time. And Okami take the round.
I don't know what's going on anymore. Nothing makes sense. We are living in a simulation. Like, that was such a mess around. It was just constant trading. And then Whitlock finds himself in the 1v2, takes out the healthier player, and then loses to a guy with all of 10 health and a dream. And Okami are now, look, they've got 1 more. I said 4 more to equalize. Have we just like cast a curse the chances of us going to Oregon?
I really hope not. I mean, the comeback from Okami here would be the most depressing comeback of all time because of how bad they looked on defense.
Yeah, nothing like a 5-1 half trade. That would truly be depressing.
Yeah.
But I just cannot for the life of me believe that Chalet is that attacker-sided. Like, it came down to the 1v1. It had nothing to do with attacker-sided or anything. It's just the trades were there. It ended up going the way of Okami towards the end, and Whitlock, we'd presented with a prime opportunity to win the round, just didn't.
Well, Karn and Co will be looking to clean this up. Clean up their act here. They don't want to let any more rounds slip away. Obviously, the confidence I've talked about, it's clearly still there. They've just got to rein it in a little bit and start to play these defenses like they would in any other situation. So they'll be moving over to a different site here. No longer favoring Master in Office, instead returning to Bar and Games, rather for the first time for Karn and Co. Defending Bar and Games. Now, we saw very successful Bar and Games attacks from Karn and Co. But this defense is a little bit peculiar, mostly because right now there is not a single defender on the site. Obviously, a top floor pressure is pretty impactful, but if Okami realize how vulnerable the site may be, you never know when they could strike.
What a way to win that round. You know what? There's no one there. Let's just go and jump in and get the plant off. That we've seen it before. It sometimes can be hugely detrimental. Deep frag eaten by the ADS at the last minute. That could have been huge onto Mikey, who's still alive and looking to contest. Exo taking some big damage on that library. Double nitro. Almost threading the needle there. That would have been huge onto Matt if they found the kill. Mikey relocating into the library box for now. And Rice on the upside down rappel trying to watch the cover.
Yeah, well, Matt Bonger will be taking Exo's position as the Hibana has already lost 50 HP. Don't want to run the risk of her getting completely finished off, but all Karn are doing right now is throwing away C4s. That is the second, and I believe the last Nitro Cell that Karn had at their disposal, and they've used them both and found nothing with it. Sonar dropping down as well. A player extended on the roam in this kitchen and dining area, gone already, and not looking good for this defense. Really not at all, because Okami are starting to take this control, and while they haven't firmly secured library, they are dealing with players elsewhere, and they may force these library players quickly to remove themselves from this position and head back to this site if they're not careful.
Sona the first to fall. Can they find... Okay, Carnage. All right, never mind. No smoke. Nothing to try and deny that plant. Without a Nitro Cell, it's going to have to come down to the gunfights for Carnage. That is truly unfortunate. Ooh, Zeno, Whitlock for two! And he goes down, unfortunately, but quick frags. Equalizer with Mikey finding a follow-up. Exo now out of the equation. It's in the hands of Rice. One of the two top fraggers for the team, crazily enough. Has the VO5, does have one more scan available. But you look at Karn and Co, they're going to play it defensively. They don't want to take those aggressive angles. They know they've been punished for it before. Starting into mudroom. Spray Rice hits himself with it. It's the reverse Uno card. You're not awarded, my friend. You are going to suffer just as much as I. Mikey covering, but Rice has already relocated around the main lobby. Trying to come in through that bar door. If he could catch a flank, a kill here could translate to the 1v1, which is entirely more doable than the 1v2. But no, Mikey spots him through the hole in the wall, shuts it down, and Karn and Co will move on to map point.
Yeah, so not dilly-dallying too much here. They gave Okami a round, but they will remedy any issues they had on Master and Office. Games and Bar successful for them in this case, and they will extend their lead back to its former glory, the 4-round lead, 6-2 match point for Karn and Co. Okami in that last round, much of their problematic attacks on Cafe, it was, I use this word a good bit. I think indecisiveness is a good way to characterize that. We never saw a cohesive, unified push to library on that top floor, nor did we see a cohesive on-site push. We saw a couple of individual engagements that initially may have gone the favor of that Okami attack, but there came a point in that round, Blue, when they realized, wait a minute, we really should be taking library control. They hadn't forced Whitlock out just yet, and Whitlock then got a double kill and swung the advantage back in Karn & Co.'s favor. Leaving Whitlock alive that long turns out to be a major risk, and, well, we saw Okami get punished for that risk.
I mean, you could almost just hear the thought process. Like, okay, cool. We need to get these walls open. We need to set up for that push onto the site. We need to get these players here, here, and here. Are we forgetting something? Oh shit, library. We need to get library control first before we do any of that. And they just, it came to them too late in the round, and by that stage, Whitlock, yeah, he absolutely blew apart any chances of them holding on. We head down to basement for the first time this map. It's not a site that I'm used to casting. Usually teams will just avoid it if they can. But Karn & Co obviously have a game plan and trying to deny it.
Yeah, favoring, snowmobile wine cellar instead of that kitchen and dining site. It's unusual, but not unprecedented. We have seen this before. And now the question is, how does Okami want to approach this? More often than not, teams will be focused on this wine cellar take. Snowmobile garage generally becomes a death trap. There's a lot of places that defenders can swing on that, even though you can open that wall up rather easily. So wine cellar control, it depends a lot on how quickly you can eliminate the roam, because at any time, you can have Karn and Co. defenders just swinging in and dominating from above. They've got several hatches to work off of. They've got a staircase to flank. I mean, you can see Zeno and Whitlock both positioned on several hatches right now. They've got one threat, and that's Rice, who initiated a bit of a clear, but he'll just remain outside for now, just staying on those windows, hoping to provide a cut off here. C4 from Sonar will get shut out of the air. That was a nice shot from Okami, who now begin what looks to be an onslaught towards Wine Cellar, not bothering to clear out this roam just yet.
The question has to be, is there any work that's been done towards West Main? Because if the pinch comes down those stairs, that's a big angle that could be left. Oh, Sona, they managed to catch a shot, but 2 quick kills shut down Carnage B and Sona in the site. So Wine should be a reasonably easy take right now. There are very few bodies in which they can find resistance with. Whitlock finds Rice. That's the first of potentially many. Oh, this car garage flank from the hatch could be absolutely huge if they have the info, even if they don't, with Zeno there as well. There's so much that could quickly go wrong. Spray onto Whitlock, Matt Bonga watching it, but the answer comes back in the form of J Slime. Zeno in a great position, Mikey as well. These two players could find themselves the right angle. Look at Zeno. He's getting so much footwork in. He's rotating completely around. He's heading towards blue. I don't know how Karn have got away with this.
Well, Zeno's now in a great spot to deny this. He's got this cross angle he needs, and he's going to tear apart Bry here. Still up is the Zofia, and this could prove important for Okami here. But hey, don't forget about Mikey. He's still in play, and he'll tear apart Bry, finishing up that last amount of HP. Oh. Good C4, shuts down Exo. Mikey on match point, pulls it out for Karn and Co. What a way to finish. A C4 followed by a beautiful kill. That's one way to put your...
You can shoot the Roteros out. I would identify attacking operators that probably could have been more of a problem in a number of these situations that could have taken that priority, but not to be like, even a Nomad would have completely thrown Karn off their momentum because they were so heavily reliant on Sona playing that on the attack. But I mean, Karn Code kick off the defense here. We go down to the basement, stock standard in terms of the approach so far. And the attack, at least we're seeing Matt Bonga play something a little bit different. The buck finally coming through. A Matt late, but it's still coming through.
Yeah, and honestly, as much as I was waiting to see the buck on both Cafe and Chalet, I don't know how I feel about the buck here. The buck is great for the dorm site when you want to go for that, dorms and kids dorm side execute instead of pushing from games, and you want to come from below. That's the power of the buck and that skeleton key. You can just tear apart the ceiling of kitchen and actually relocate every single defender who's sitting up above on dorms. But we are downstairs here on the basement site, where Buck is not useless, but he's damn near close. You're really more going to rely on those flashbangs than anything else. And yeah, he'll be helpful on the roam clear. He allows you to just traverse this map a little bit easier, but this is one of those situations where Matt Bonger may be looking like, or maybe wishing he picked something else.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the way it goes sometimes. I mean, look, the C8's not a terrible gun. Maybe you can look to make a big play off of that, but with everything that we're seeing already, you just have to, again, lean more towards Karn and Co. They've got the slightly better lineup. They've got the slightly better stronghold position. Carnage on the freezer stairs with the SMG11 looking to get aggressive, and we didn't really touch on the Xeno Ella coming through once again with the Scorpion Evo. Honestly, I've seen more Scorpion Evo Ella today than I have in the last 3 stages of ANZ Siege that I've covered.
Hey, sometimes you just like a weapon and you want to roll with it. You just want to tear people apart. Fire rate is king in Siege. Xeno.
I'm not saying we don't play Ella. It's just the FA12 almost exclusively.
That's true. I mean, you've got the shotgun from Karn. Maybe they just don't need it. Maybe Xeno prefers it. Who really knows? But yeah, I also am in the same boat. We mostly, this may give you the wrong impression of NA, but I think mostly we do see FO12. We don't see the Scorpion run. But today it seems just the day for the Scorpion. And teams want to stay consistent with that here. But as Okami continue to get this attack underway, we are seeing, a variety of progress made. And right now, they're just setting up for every single approach possible. They're, doing their due diligence over on that freezer side and that laundry side, but they're also, getting that E-box hatch open, pressuring from pillars and blue as well, making sure that wherever they decide to push from, they've got this avenue cleared. It does seem that this northern approach is going to be their preference. You see the players on tower stairs. You see that Karn has been forced to employ now 2 of those toxic smokes to delay this push as long as he can.
That's not really where the priority is going to be coming from for Okami when that attack does eventually happen. I would hope you wouldn't want them all to be forcing down big tower stairs, probably freezer or bunker. Or they are seemingly a little bit spread here now that they are gearing up for that push, hitting the final 35 seconds. There's still no clear indication where the priority does come. Oh, you've got J Slime out towards bunker, 2 players dropping into the hatch and E-box. Exo's there looking for it, but it's a swing in from big tower. 2 quick kills go in the favor of Karn. A third, in fact, as Okami only bags themselves the 1. Sona with a ripper of a headshot. It's all coming apart. Zeno down, but Sona denies the kill entirely. That was an incredibly decisive round out for the win there for Karn & Co.
Yeah, that one was strong, and the beauty of it is that no matter where Okami, eventually decided for that push, it seemed that Karn and Co. were prepared for just about every contingency, but especially when it came to those tower stairs push, it was shut down completely. First, it was Karn with those smokes, whose job was it to just delay, delay, delay. You had Sonar sitting in blue to deny anybody from pushing in and dealing with that crossfire. Somebody, could have theoretically charged through that construction door and looked to take care of Karn from behind. That was why Sonar was positioned in the way that he was. And we saw how successful he was at that, denying the blue push, denying that tower stairs push, and shutting down everyone from Okami who even attempted to get onto that basement floor. So starting off with a bang. And, we talked about the buck pick not being really that beneficial for the basement site, but we're headed up here to dorm, so maybe Matt Bonger will find some solace in that, and Okami will be able to change things up in round 2.
It's so interesting. I come from ANZ. I'm used to watching ANZ Siege and just seeing these subtle differences in terms of approach and setup for North America teams. And we see the Vulcan shield, obviously it's sitting in the middle of the site there in main. You can see it, bottom or middle left of your screen. Whereas in ANZ, they sit it on the kids' dorm's door and looking towards trophy for something a little bit more aggressive. So, looking to play a little bit deeper, looking to play a little bit more passive. Karn anticipating some aggression from Okami.
Right. Always interesting to see those more subtle changes. Now, obviously there are a couple of different varieties. We do see often that shield on the kid's doorway, but not as often, looking towards the white stairs. More often looking, towards trophy. And
yeah,
towards,
that's where it usually is. But
right.
in ANZ, it's like a religious thing almost.
Yeah. And I'd say that shift has come more recently, but more often than not, we do see that shield, and it's something that attacking teams love to deal with from below, right? They come below and they deal with that shield, Zofia Impact, or in this case, Skeleton Key. Open that floor and shoot at the Vulcan shield as you can. But for now, we talked a lot about the pressure from below. Okami, they're doing none of that right now. Their focus remains on this top floor, and, well, they are going to lose J-Slime very early.
Even he's confused.
I'm confused too.
No
Was that a pre-fire through the game's window?
So can we find where he died? Imagine that was in trophy, yeah? Or was that maybe the game's window? Either way, all I can say with certainty is J Slime got absolutely slammed.
Yeah, that is not the way Okami wanted to start their potential comeback round here. Something they really wanted to make happen. Again, I talked about the power of the Yana too. When you're dealing with these Surya gates, cannot be overstated. No nades either. J-Slime losing out that ability. And Karn & Co., they now have a little bit more freedom to move around this site. They know there's not as much pressure coming from everywhere, and as such, they're going to step up and frag out. Exo is dealt with. Your Thermite is gone. He was able to get that exothermic charge down first, I believe, so not the end of the world for him. And Matt Bonger now, he's got to go for the miracle play, right? He's sneaking up from below, and he's got to get something done. But Zeno is there. He knows exactly where Matt Bonger's coming from, and goodbye to the buck. Now, Rice lines up 2. Bry follows up with 1, and all of a sudden, this is back to an even 2v2.
Rice with some nutty shots from that walk-in wardrobe. That one line opened up with the Maverick Torch. paying out dividends for the team. But you got Sona and Whitlock, who are both deathless so far. They obviously absolutely dominated in that last round. And, well, they've got a combined 5 kills between them without a death. So, I mean, they're looking for numbers. They're going to be hunting for these kills as soon as they present themselves. Rice crouching on through. Bry absolutely slaughtered. And Whitlock closed it out with a kill on a Rice. I mean, honestly, I'm still more intrigued by where the hell Slime got destroyed from.
Yeah, an odd beginning to that round, and I don't think it ever got clearer for Okami. Again, they had a really good mid-round where they got those 3 kills back almost instantly. Another mystery for us. We're not exactly sure how that happened, but they brought it back, and they nearly had it in the end. But in a 2v2 without that games wall open, I thought Exo had gotten that exothermic charge off, but actually he hadn't because it was still electrified, and the Maverick Rice hadn't done the work yet. They didn't have a lot of options. And when you're in a 2v2 and you don't have the breach open, the tough part is the defense knows exactly where you're coming from. Intel or not, there's 2 doorways and maybe an attic approach, all of which they can hear you very clearly. There's no ambiguity to where they have to look. And as such, Karn and Co. were more than prepared, and they shut them down the moment they walked in the site. Good attempt at that comeback, but Okami are denied at getting that second round. That's 2 in a row for Karn and Co. And now they'll be looking to a meeting in kitchen to go next.
For a moment there, Carnage did hover the Tachanka. I have to ask Jay, like, how much Tachanka does NA traditionally see?
We see not a ton, but recently I think we see it, I don't know, 10% of the time. I mean, every once in a while when teams feel that it can benefit them, and more of the big brain teams, I'd say. And these 2 teams we've gotten in front of us, clearly with the operator lineups they've been showing us, not ones to innovate.
Nice save there. I know the direction you were headed, and you just pulled the nose of the plane up at the very tail end. That could have been very, very disastrous. But yeah, look, I mean, again, a lot of ANZ teams running it at the moment because literally it's a cookie cutter, the DP27. You literally just cut holes out of softball. It's so much easier than with the M590. Plus the Shamika, arguably better than the Toxic Canisters in duration. So not going to see it here. Mikey up in the big tower. A kill here would be hugely devastating.
I mean, if Mikey can just stay here for another, 45 seconds and get a kill on his way out, I don't know what Okami are going to do to recover the mental. I mean, at the very least, the round. Mikey's still here, still pre-firing, using, the support he's got from maybe some intel. He knows where the swings are coming from, but unfortunately for him, he won't be able to deal with every possible contingency. Rice, the long angle from actually all the way outside, will be the one to deal the fatal blow to Mikey. He wasted a minute, but that kind of play, you're probably looking to get a little bit more damage dealt here. It is a tough site to defend. That's why we're seeing Mikey go with that aggression, but don't think it paid off just yet.
Well, things going to slow down again just a little bit as they are biding their time right now, not wanting to get overly aggressive. But lockdown in kitchen. The setup here for Karn and Co. is going to be a hard one to shift.
Well, Karn himself trying to pressure from below and establish this little angle if anybody wants to swing onto attic itself, trying to assist Sonar in this. This could be good for Karn if he gets the angle at the right time, but unfortunately for him, Bry has the angle on the left side of that wall, so doesn't have to swing all the way across, and this position from Karn could do him more harm than good. He actually will back off that angle at the unfortunate time, because now you can see Bry actually taking up the very angle Karn established, but now he'll be forced, now that the wall's been open, to take an even more aggressive position. He's got the smoke to cover, but that's not going to stop the bullets, and he's going to find himself quickly dealt with as a result.
The answer back here from Okami's been pretty decisive. So far here in round 3, the 2 frags have found Carnage and Mikey to the key players in this roster for Karn and Co. Obviously, the namesake for one, Sona found in pit. Downed, not killed, and Bry will quickly alter that and change it so that it is, in fact, a kill. Zeno that finds himself alone as Whitlock falls to J Slime, getting revenge after that last round. Zeno in the 1 versus 4, limited utility in terms of information. Matt Bonger watching the split door, shuts it down, and I did actually watch back the VOD there, Jay. So Whitlock in that last round swung pit door and slammed J Slime in the trophy armory stairs door. So all of a second, less than a second, is is it what it took for Jay Slime to go down.
Well, hey, good thing we learned that because, man, that was a wild previous round. But hey, Okami took their first round on the tertiary bomb site, but still, getting that win was important for them because it now established that even if they can't win these two main sites of Beano Basement and that top floor of dorms, at least they can win the meeting room attack. So they've got the one round they needed here in these first three, but now they will, of course, have the tough task of heading back downstairs, a round that did not go so well for them previously. At least they're going to be changing things up a little in terms of the operator selection. I mentioned that the buck on the basement site isn't all that great, and Matt Bonger, maybe he heard me. He's picking out that Twitch, going with the Twitch drone instead, and while it's not easy to use those drones, we've already seen today how impactful those drones can be, especially when you have a Goyo on the board.
Yeah, they could look to do a big bit of damage here if they clear some of those Vulcan shields in those positions early. And without the mute or a Mozzie on the board, I mean, realistically, Matt Bonga should have free reign over the site if he gets a drone nice and deep and clears out some of that utility. Right now, though, Karn & Co looking to hold on. They're setting up the last bits of utility in the defense right now. Punch holes, Footlock. It's a bit of a misinformation game, trying to bait anyone pushing down the big tower stairs into shooting at them. But you've also got Sona over in that position in big tower, looking to hold the landing, trying to get that early information for the team.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Well, as Okami begin this one, I'll be curious to assess exactly where they want to approach this time. Is this going to be another pillar focused take, an E-box focused take, or are we going to see a bit of a change geared up towards freezer, maybe laundry, and try to catch? Oh, there it is. Well played from Matt Bonger. Sonar, he's only going to walk away with 50 HP, but we highlighted the importance of the Twitch drone. He's already doing God's work and opening up this option. I mean, we talked about just a moment ago before we saw the brilliant play from Matt Bonger. The options that he had, but it seems that another Goyo shield is back. They're going to put one right in the same position, so Matt Bonger's hard work, well, it wasn't wasted. This avenue is now sealed off once again.
Could you imagine, like, you know, Matt Bonger there hits Sona with the reverse Uno card, uses the shield against them. Matt sends his second drone and sees another shield there, thinks, what the hell just happened? I thought I cleared that. And unfortunately, in the process, his second drone was also taken out, so they're going to have to rely on the, you know, the soft breach utility and you know, the frag grenades, the Gon 6, to try and clear that out. Because otherwise, I mean, that position is so powerful, and now that it's been reinforced with the second Vulcan shield, the work is really just cut out for them.
Well, you've got Karn as well, still holding this very important position, and that's what Exo is trying to alleviate as soon as possible. Just trying to get this angle established towards Karn so that he can no longer hold that position, because once you deal with Karn, that frees up a couple of different approaches. You can push in from tower, you can push in from bunker, but those X-Kairos pellets largely are going to be shot out brilliantly from both Whitlock and Mikey. The second set is not going to be shot out, so Karn now needs to be very careful about where he's positioned, not only because of that opening, but we can see the Z-pings on his position. Okami know exactly where he is. They just haven't quite started to drop down and deal with him, but that's coming in just a moment.
And Carnage just runs his way into bunker. That's huge. He's sitting up towards Tarps and could well and truly upset the push. The lineup to Whitlock for 2, Mikey for a 3rd, and Sona. He says, you know what, 4, and Carnage. Carnage is 5, and even better. It's even more well-rounded. A flawless round. Honestly, Okami just threw themselves into the meat grinder.
That was brutal. I would love to see a replay of that. Can't wait till it comes up on our feed here, because that went from 0 to 100 in a split second. You saw the full send from Okami, and you just saw that they just got decimated. There's no other word for it. They got torn apart at the seam, and that's well played. That's really well played from Karn & Co. Look at Whitlock just lining them up. You had Karn and Mikey and Sonar, all who contributed a kill in that final exchange. Everyone had an angle on E-box. Every single Karn defender was ready for that drop, and they got a kill because of it. Brilliantly played from them, making basement look easy twice now. Both times they've gone there.
A little bit of an 80-20 fat blend for the burgers. You love to see it. It's going to come up nice on the grill, but I Again, I genuinely have to question what Okami were hoping to achieve in that situation. They had to know Carnage was at least in close proximity. They knew the wall was open. I, it was literally just one of those situations. Anything that could have did go wrong.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think it comes down to dealing with Karn, right? I mean, honestly, and Matt Bonger with the drone. So those two elements, and the fact that Sonar was just so smart that he decided to go get that other shield and put it back in blue. That was very well played. The combination, the fact that Karn was able to stay alive, waste time, and the fact that Sonar remained in bunker, it just meant that Okami and the push they were trying to do, it was being stopped before they could actually do it. And I think they realized that, and that's why they committed and focused so much on those two things, those two aspects of that defense. Yet Karn and Co. just proving that they had it in them to dodge all of those attempts.
Oh, look at the utility commit here up in T3. They've got to clear out all the ADSs. Whitlock through the vert. Shuts down Bright on that repel. That was, I mean, last time they were able to clear it out. They dealt with Mikey, but this time around, they're like, we're going to chuck a bit more utility denial here. We got the Saria gates. We got the ADSs. Mikey spotted a foot there for a moment. Drone goes in, so he's very much scouted out right now, but there's so little they could do about it.
Yeah, when you lose the first player like that, you're not out of options, but you are very, very limited. Now you've got to work your way from below, and Whitlock is lying in wait for that. Someone is here to support Mikey, and you knew that, yet you die to it anyway. That's two players you've lost on this T3 clear. It was a bold decision of Mikey to go for this again when he's already done this and it already failed, but
Mikey,
this time, my God, has it worked perfectly. J-Slime is now on 1 HP. All Mikey has to do is swing this and just breathe on him, and I think it's been so effective that J-Slime is just going to give up.
Yeah, I mean, look, you cut your losses in that situation. They've invested so much. I mean, you've got, what, 3 sets of stuns left to try and counter anything. Whitlock, no, sorry, not Whitlock, it's Mikey. Whitlock was playing it last time. Mikey just knifes the window, says, yeah, whatever, just get the hell out of here. My job is to, honestly, just the sheer amount of attention he drew, not to mention the utility then on top of that. I mean, Okami just gifted them the round.
Right, they just were unable to clear out T3. I mean, electing to do it is one thing and is often the smart choice, but well, we're seeing it fail tremendously, and now with Matt Bonger, Exo taking care of it, is all up to J-Slime with a 1 HP to his name against 5 Karn & Co. defenders who, as we've seen, are no longer afraid to take gunfights. In fact, they are hunting for these frags. Mikey holding a very dangerous position. A lot of, well, we all know the implications of this one, but I don't think that's what he's going to be focused on right now. It's not match point. It's not the invitational. He's just going to be chilling at the top of the white stairs, and he will be more than happy to get that final frag. And with that, Karn go up once again. That forward with 4-1 lead here. And the final defensive round for them, if they can get this 5-1 half, I don't know what Okami can do. You don't want to have 2 5-1 halves on back-to-back maps, that's for sure.
I mean, back-to-back flawless round wins is bad enough. And that's what we've seen now through 4 and 5. Going to the fight, I mean, what do you do, Jay? You go into the fight around the half, you're about to, switch over to the defense. You can't be relying on that solely to pick up your win. You want the 4-2 minimum. That's when the campaign to come back and push for the win starts. But I mean, it's almost like Karn & Co. took Matt one person. They're genuinely upset that Okami had the audacity to take it off them, and then they look to make an example of them on Chalet, and they're looking to do the same here in Oregon.
They have really turned things around. Of course, Okami could still get one more round here. I mean, it would be expected given the way things have been going, and they're taking a timeout to lock that in. They really want these 60 seconds to talk it over, to say, how are we going to approach this next bomb site, and maybe even talk about how they're going to approach the next half, given the way things are stacking up right now. But Karn & Co., given that they lost meeting in kitchen last time, they are going to change things up slightly, and they're going to go kitchen and dining instead. The other sister bomb site to the former site that they attempted, and maybe look for another way to pull this one out. Maybe forcing Okami to go for that top floor clear, or forced to do something that they are a little bit more uncomfortable with. After all, kitchen and dining, it does more often than not require attacking teams to clear that top floor fully rather than just get control of attic, what you do on meeting. But you never know. You could see Okami try to abbreviate that clear a little bit.
Oh boy. Okami, probably sweating a little bit. You'd imagine they are anyway. But Whitlock, 7-1, and again, it's just that the numbers game is far superior for Karn and Co. They're heading to dining and kitchen this time around. Last time it was meeting kitchen, and that one didn't quite go to plan. So you can understand the change up here in the final round, but utility setup is looking pretty formidable. The mute jammer paired with the ADS as the coverage is there. No Twitch in play, so it's going to be harder to clear them out. And honestly, the biggest hurdle this round is going to be getting EXO into a position where he can actually use the exothermic, because if they commit any sort of resistance in small tower, even that showers position, Okami are probably going to lose a couple of members.
Right, it's about taking the right, making the right decision about how you're going to approach this site, and obviously you have to weigh the costs and the benefits. Do you want to go for that full clear, risk losing more bodies on the top floor, but also what you gain from that is so much safety going for that plant? If you don't, if you go more directly into small tower, into dining, you run the risk of being caught off guard from above. There's a nice little hatch in kitchen, in kids right here, that you can lie prone on and get a perfect angle towards every single plant spot that you could imagine, right where Karn is sitting. I mean, his position important right now, but when that breach is open, he's going to have to relocate, and we may see things change up a bit. But right now, Okami just trying to get their feet under them, just trying to clear out and make sure there's no unusual extension coming in from this Karn & Co. defense, and it doesn't seem like there is. A pretty standard hold from Karn right now, focused on applying pressure on that site while maintaining control of the top floor. And right now, Okami only contesting small tower, yet to enter into dorms or kids at this point.
Zeno pulled off the angle at the worst possible time. He could have found some big damage onto Bry. Utility dumped towards his position, so they know they need to clear him out right now. And it's starting, it's beginning. The frag grenades are on deep. I believe it was picked up, but Bry, the first to fall, Carnage, swings out that dining door and picks up a big kill. At the cost of about just over half his health, but that's a big kill nonetheless.
And still holding his position in showers is huge. You've got to force him out. A key part of this dining clear is removing this showers player, right? In meeting, attic matters. In dining, showers matters. And Zeno is still here. He's still got the support of several magnets, several ADSs, and this Vulcan shield in front of him. No Twitch drone to sneak on in. And those nades, we haven't seen those come through at all yet. Whether that's successfully or not, we just haven't seen them attempted. Now, Karn is going to go on the wide swing because Exo is, I don't know what he's doing. And just sitting behind these tables on Tetris, Karn is tearing this attack apart. Matt Bonger will get one in return, but not having dealt with Zeno means he can safely rotate away, and means that this is going to be a guaranteed 4v2 when Okami want to make this push, not the place they want to be at all, struggling to get any foothold on this site.
I mean, Zeno for a moment was going to, back himself out and reinforce it off, but then he realized he still had utility to deny the shield being cleared, so he just stuck around and said, I've got this, don't you worry. Now both attacking players of Okami stuck in small tower with no real avenue, and Sona has wanted to get so aggressive onto that shower hallway double, but right now we're heading to the final 10. Mikey looking for a swing. He finds the kill on a Matt Bonga. The dual swing, Slim. It's not Slim, it's Slimmy Kit, but it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Karn & Co. overwhelm them with numbers. Too many targets for J Slime to even deal with. The 360 even. Karn & Co. Back-to-back 5-1 halves.
Oh, what a mess for Okami in that last round. That's going to be one they want to forget as soon as possible. But they can move on to Oregon defense, right? And that can be the semblance of hope that they hold on to. But yeah, that's back-to-back 5-1 halves for Karn. That is exceptional from this side. And Okami have really been in a lot of trouble. Blue, I think you were spot on with saying they took that map 1 loss personally, because they have come out with a vengeance. And Okami, it really looks like they haven't stood a chance ever since. They're going to have to make some sort of miracle comeback here. It's not unheard of. It is Oregon defense, and we just saw that Karn & Co. pulled out a very dominant defensive half. But to see Okami do this as well, when they were unable to do the same thing on Chalet. I want to hold on to hope, Blue, but I don't know if I can.
Look, at this point, it's looking like there might just be a spot on the Sonics roster for EXO. He's got the number down pat right now. One more, and he's all the way there. But I mean, I don't think. I just have no faith that Okami's defense is that solid that they can pick themselves up a 5-1 half, especially with the momentum Karn and Co have.
Well, Okami, the aggression on defense, it's had mixed results. I expect that's what we're going to see from them. At least it's what Bry is indicating. He wants to bring out just a solo roam attempt right now. Early days, just lurking in the shower corridor. Wants to apply as much early pressure to Karn and Co as he can. Naturally, Karn and Co want to make sure he's forced out as soon as possible, given that they will have to work their way towards this basement site at some point. And making this entry over towards this west side, it seems that Okami have heard that, and they are going to play this one a little bit safer, at least for now. Both J Slime and Bry will head back down those freezer stairs, get the heck out of Dodge, and get back to this site. But there is one player lurking up above near main lobby. Position on the top of those armory stairs, waiting to strike. And also, you've got Matt Bonger in play, sitting on tower stairs, also waiting for someone to just come near him before he gets aggressive.
Positioning is going to be key. Bry there, top freezer stairs, has support below him. Especially, you definitely want it, especially with the fragging capabilities that we've seen out of Karn and Co so far. But they both back off. Bry holding bottom freezer, J Slime holding in freezer itself. But Sona's going to open that security hatch, and Gemma cleared out as well means that they can not only get more information, but they can actively contest some of these defensive positions. And very, very early on in the round, we start to see Karn and Co whittling away at Okami's strongholds of defense.
Well, 90 seconds is, not too bad of a place to be for either team right now. Okami have wasted a good bit of time, but not that much. And Karn have taken a good bit of time, but they still have some time to work with here. Gearing up towards what looks like a pillar take. You've got pressure now building from this bunker side. You've got pressure from the E-box, and you've got pressure from the tower stairs. That's going to be Mikey and Zeno's job. You've got a nade in Mikey's hand that he's going to be looking to send towards that pillars player, so dangerous for Matt Bonger or J Slime to hold that position any aggressively. Ooh. And there it is. Matt Bonger takes one step too far, and Mikey lines up a double kill as a result. Now a huge clap back from Exo, who finally steps up and gets two. Bry on the follow-up as well, switches things around in a heartbeat. Okami in a 3v2, now forcing Karn and Co to step up, and Carnage B himself cannot get it done. It's all up to Sonar, who doesn't have the diffuser. He's got 30 seconds, but he's got 3 defenders swinging on him here. He'll light up Bry, can't quite get the fatal blow, so he'll whip out the Bearing 9 and just charge towards the Malusi. He'll get that kill, but needs to find 2 more and only has 25 seconds to work with. He doesn't care about the diffuser. He wants to hunt for these kills. I don't think he realized he didn't pick it up, so he's going to have to just charge in blind, and, well, Exo will get 3 kills right after you called him out, Blue. Looks like he heard you, and looks like he finally wanted to contribute.
About bloody time. I mean, the guy didn't pick up a single kill in the first half and then picks up 3 in the first round of the second. Look, that's cutting it close, if I'm being perfectly honest. You shouldn't be. You shouldn't have to rely on your defense to find successes. A good team will have both successes on defense and attack, but right now, look, it is what it is. Okami get themselves a second, taking out the first round of the second half, and I don't think it necessarily came to a fact that Karn played that bad. It was just all of a sudden Okami stepped up. Their defense is pretty spectacular.
Yeah. Defenders, protect your Blue, here's a concerning thing about going down 5-1.
He got 4 that round. Okay.
Oh, okay. Exo. Well played, sir.
He's gone from bottom of the leaderboard to tied first among his team on kills. What?
That is quite a change right there for Exo. Now Bry, Rice, and Exo all have 4 kills to their name. On the side of Karn and Co, it looks a lot cleaner. Sonar, Mikey, Whitlock, 7 kills. Carnage B, 6. Zeno only 2, which is a little bit unusual, but still everyone contributing, spreading the weight around nicely. But what I was saying there, Blue, is that a 5-1 half is a big problem for one specific reason, right? And that is that even if you manage to win both your primary and secondary bomb sites, both times you go to them, you still have to win at least one of the tertiary sites. You have to find a way to pull out a defensive victory on meeting or kitchen and dining. And to do it both times, or at least the one time, otherwise you're going to overtime. I mean, it's very unlikely. So Karn and Co., they don't need to fret too much if they lose a round here or there, especially if it's on basement, if it's on dorms. They just have to win the rounds that matter.
I'm sorry, that was a rather interesting voice line to catch there at the tail end. One less entry point to worry about. Okay, sure, whatever, champ. But here we are, Dorm's defense, and again, Karn and Co. making quick work of setting up for that execute. They're in master bedroom. They're looking to open up walk-in. They have drones down below, so even though they are being rather aggressive in their approach, they are not letting themselves slip. And the head spotted there for J Slime. They know exactly where he is. He is in a very dangerous spot. It's a battle of jiggle peaks, and J Slime will eventually lose it out. He's going to be down. They won't have confirmation of that, but J Slime down and out, and they might even be able to find a follow-up kill if they do get themselves in, get that information, because Bry is lurking around.
Well, he's not too close to immediately help J Slime, but if he makes his position, or maybe rather doesn't make his position known just yet, he could indeed catch Karn and Co. off guard if they hunt for this frag and try to secure it. That's what it appears Zeno is going to do. Wants to get that third tick on the board, and he will do that, finally finishing off J Slime. And Bry was not in position to clap back. However, he is still in the mix and still a threat for Karn and Co. to deal with, still on the freezer stairs. He'll rotate below if he feels threatened from the shower corridor, but right now he will remain stalwart. I mean, you've got Whitlock also here on the white stairs, potentially vulnerable to a little bit of a move here from Brian. He's going to step up. He's not going to check the right way, though, and Zeno is going to go for that check and going to make sure to deliver the fatal blow. Sonar and Mikey just line two more up. Goodbye, Bonger. Goodbye, Rice. It's all up to Exo. He's got to be clutch again. Plants going down, no smokes to stop it. He turns his back, and Karn lights him up. Flawless round for Karn and Co. yet again. That is, I haven't kept track perfectly, but that is another flawless round, adding to the several that Karn and Co. have managed to happen. 3? Wow. That is impressive stuff.
Well, I mean, one more, and that is a 50% flawless rate in the last 6 rounds, which... that's brutal. That'd be absolutely brutal. Map point, series point achieved here from Karn and Co. Hey, Jay, it's insane that we went from an overtime map 1 on Cafe to what is about to be a 7-2, 7-2 reverse sweep.
Where did this come from? I mean, first of all, from Karn and Co., but then again, Okami, where did their ability to play the game go? It's a mystery.
I don't know. It's again... Siege can be a bizarre game some days, and it seems that today is one of those days.
I mean, it's just shocking. So many flawed rounds is concerning. Is concerning for Okami going forward. I know that they had a good performance on Cafe, or at least satisfactory performance on Cafe. It got the job done. But yeah, they've got to turn things around. They need 4 rounds in a row. We saw on Chalet how they were unable to do it. Maybe this is where things turn around. Maybe finally it's time on this match point. This is where Okami charge ahead and make the comeback. But it's hard to figure out what it is they've done well that has worked for them to chain a bunch of rounds in a row. I mean, thinking all the way back to Cafe, I mean, it feels so long ago, given that Karn and Co. have been so dominant for so long. But, you know, was it the aggression? Or was it more passivity? Maybe a little bit of both. I know I've been obsessed with the Okami aggression in the last couple of rounds here, but like, I feel like they're trying to get these roamers or even attackers into forward aggressive positions and taking early gunfights. And they're losing those gunfights, right? And that always sticks out like a sore thumb if that is something they're still struggling with.
It may be as simple as, you know, Karn and Co. were literally using map 1 to gauge what Okami were capable of. They ended up losing it in that process, but it set them up for everything they needed to know going into Chalet and now into Oregon subsequently. And, I mean, that information is obviously proving invaluable. They are up 7-2. They're about to reverse sweep, only dropping 4 rounds in the final 2 maps.
Well, Breach opened now. over towards games. So Karn and Co. getting the job done without much resistance. That aggression I highlighted from Okami has since, backed off a little bit. Exo, he'll also slowly back off in Attic, retreating towards Pit. A couple of, stray bullets towards the feet of Karn, but that is, not going to be enough to scare the Maverick off from doing his job. Sonar has been dealt with, though, and that's a great shot from Matt Bonger. Good shot towards Trophy, it would appear. Shutting down a player who, even though he's playing that hard support, has been fragging out very consistently on this map compared to the previous two maps. So no longer going to make an impact on match point, or at least this first match point. But looking to now support his team elsewhere, but watching these flanks may be more important than Karn and Co. think. You've got J-Slime to worry about.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, Whitlock placed 2 air jabs in that position. One at the very end of the banister and one just around the corner. So J-Slime might think there's only one. If he takes out one, he could find himself in trouble. He's going to shoot the first. He's going to swing. And there we go. The second air jab. He's knocked down. Frag grenade. He does get the kill onto Carnage. They had the prime opportunity, and unfortunately, it's completely slipped their grasp. Karn find themselves down. They are about to be the ones receiving a flawless.
That was one of the most unlucky timings we've ever seen. Who was that? Karn in the middle of cooking a nade, so he couldn't take out the gun because he had already cooked the nade so much. Had he dropped that nade, or had he risked that, that was about to be a disaster, and I guess he was hoping that he had cooked it long enough to get the kill, but really what he should have done is pocket the nade.
Yeah, isn't the tooltip it's faster to pull out your secondary than it is to reload? I think that kind of applies in the same situation.
Right, it does. Because, I mean, that nade, even though it's cooking, you can just pocket it. It's a video game. That's how it works. And you can then whip out your gun and try to get that kill. Instead, he tried for the miracle play. Even though they knew exactly where that player was, he was on his back. But Jason able to pop up, get the kill, while the rest of his team was fragging out on the site. So we'll call that one unlucky in the end, but even if it was that engagement was unlucky, the rest of the engagements very much did go Okami's way. There's no question about that.
Yeah, it was just an absolute wash. And Okami, look, they're going to do one better than Chalet, but it could be further, obviously. 3 more, they take us to OT. And a round like that is one that would shake your mental. And when you are 3 maps deep into a best-of-3 series and staring down the barrel of closing it out, there's no describing just how detrimental that could be. I mean, Karn and Co., they're going to have to bolster themselves if they want to close it out before we do go to the overtime again.
Although Okami will head back to the basement. This is the round they were able to succeed on. Their first defensive attempt. Maybe we'll see that again. Maybe we'll see that again here. It is, again, match point. They do need to fight their way back 3 in a row. There's no doubt that they have to have a flawless performance. But also no question that Karn and Co., that last round they were clearly a bit flustered. We saw it in the decision-making of Karn himself in those last few moments. And that's something they're going to be looking to change up. They're going to be looking to tidy things up and play a little bit cleaner Siege, as they probably would like to close out this series as soon as possible. Exo looking to initiate this comeback maybe by getting this early entry. Bry as well will actually come to assist the Wamai. As Okami, smartly so, they're familiar with Karn's plan. They entered from the top floor last time and cleared their way through. We're not going to actually see Karn and Co. go into dorms itself, but they will enter through tower, and they will work their way down towards Green Hall and try to provide some sort of cutoff to prevent these roamers from being any sort of detriment to their attack. But as it turns out, all the roamers have returned to the site, so nothing too much to worry about there.
Yeah, they're going to split the difference. Don't worry about the dorms. Don't worry about the second floor. I mean, they've obviously made the call off of the information the drones has presented them that there's not going to be any significant offsite presence, and we could see that all of Okami have rotated back into the site. So it is going to be, again, that chaotic execute coming down to the gunfights. They know the beat jabbers there, trying to throw it into the new, but now that it's shot out, they can get that information deeper into Freezer and Jay. I mean, there is so much riding on this round for Okami. Karn, all they need is the one round. Okami can't afford to make a single mistake.
Right, and that's always the risk you run, at this point when you let the lead slip away so far. You've got to play flawlessly. You've got to play very clean. And Karn and Co., they've got some leeway. They can mess around a little bit. They can test a couple of new things out. They can approach from this freezer side, which generally is a little bit riskier, right? Going for this south approach Well, it can be shut down with just a couple of perfectly placed smoke grenades that Rice has still been saving up for this point in the round. Still has 3 to work with, and Matt Bonger still has a C4. A lot of post-plant and plant denial threats remain on this site and are brutal if you run into them on some sort of freezer push. But that freezer push now, perfect nade, and Bry manages to escape with just a lick of his HP remaining. And now Mikey, having been unsuccessful on the first, he's cooking up a second.
Yeah, he might need to see a proctologist after that one, and he's going to need to see some sort of medical professional right now. Jay Slime goes down, so does X. It's a quick flurry of kills, and all of a sudden it's Rice and Matt alone, and another flawless, Jay!